Wasn't me.
Oh,
it wasn't me.
And we are live.
Brad, I assumed I was going to walk into the studio today and look around and not find the belt.
I couldn't do it to you for real.
Oh, you should have taken it. You should have taken it. It would have been hilarious.
I'm disappointed, Brad.
Yeah.
Give Adam an excuse to travel on the East Coast.
Yeah.
If we had been slightly smarter, what we could have done is I could have taken it home, and then we acted like you took it home, and then I just brought it back next week and didn't say anything.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
That would
put that in our
been
pocket
funny.
for next time.
I listened to the episode, good episode last week, but I really expected to come in and the belt was gone. But
Oh. I made sure to get a sweet picture with it, so it's always with me in my heart.
All right, there you go. Hello, internet.
Hey,
we're
welcome
live.
back.
We're live. I'm back. I had a vacation last week.
Yeah.
I got that vacation.
Boy, are
brain
your arms
going on.
tired?
My arms? Why?
I don't know. You had a vacation.
Oh, okay.
Just flew in and
Yeah.
boy,
Actually, my
arms
back
tired.
is pretty sore. I don't
What'd
know
you do?
why.
You doing lifting?
I did over the weekend. I did a real big stretch, one of those things,
no.
and then I was like, "Oh no!"
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
boy.
it's been bugging me. It happens.
I assumed you were like doing some housekeeping, like moving furniture or something like that. No, I
Just stretching.
I was putting lotion on my face and I threw my back out.
Yeah.
What I really want to know, Adam, is did you find any USBs on the floor while you're on vacation? Just randomly USBs on
yeah.
the
No,
everywhere.
I was no, I didn't.
Floor candy?
Unfortunately.
floor candy, maybe.
No, some floor taffy.
Do
I
you need
guess.
anything out of the trash?
It's a good question. Probably. I'm just gonna blanketly say probably,
So,
but I don't know for sure.
So, like, what's your? Do you have we have a compost bin on our kitchen counter, like a little one. It's like small,
Okay. Yeah.
like something's on the top of it. It looks tasty. Would you go for that?
Well, no, because the problem for me, I'm deathly allergic to mold. So,
Okay.
yeah, stuff in a compost
Wow.
bin probably immediately
Coward.
would just get covered in
probably.
mold.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I mean, it depends on how spicy I guess I'm feeling.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do
Okay.
that.
You're
So
not
not,
eating
not a compost. Compost
Okay.
is where I draw the line. Unless it's
Trash?
literally just like
It's just
sitting
resting
on the
there.
yeah, it's resting
There's
and
like a
it's
piece of wax
barely
paper,
touching.
there's like a half a
okay,
donut.
if there's a wax paper,
Yeah, the wax
if-
paper.
come
You're
on.
not supposed to put wax paper in compost.
It's
by
like
the
a
way.
gym for your intestines.
Yeah, see, you gotta always keep them thinking.
Yeah.
Mark was up in Seattle.
I was up in Seattle.
Yeah,
Ooh,
not a
enjoyed
vacation
myself.
though.
No. Although every time I go to Seattle, it does feel like a vacation. I love the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
It's nice and cool. It's kind of damp. Very wealthy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like to think that the cities on the West Coast get better the further north you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, like San Diego, kind of a hellhole.
Yeah.
L.A., ditto.
Yeah, kind of a- yeah.
San Francisco's fine. More poop on the streets than I'm looking
Yeah.
for, probably.
We'll see.
Portland, quite
Portland's
nice.
odd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
weird
Portland.
but
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Seattle's really clean. Vancouver's
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
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 And then Juneau. I've never been to Juneau. I assume it's incredible.
Cold.
At least
Yeah.
during some of the year.
Washington, Vancouver, or Canada, Vancouver?
Nobody
Kind of
goes
the
to
same
Washington,
thing.
Vancouver.
I don't know.
Oh, Willis. So actually, I did experience one thing
Oh, just
that
one?
I wanted to bring up.
This is a family podcast. Adam.
Yeah, yeah, just one. I went through my Burger King drive-through recently
Why?
and was
get some chicken fries?
greeted by AI.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the very first time I
Right.
pulled up, and
Yeah.
it
It's
it
the
had.
thing.
Welcome to Burger King. May I take your order?
Well, usually there's like some sort of scripted thing, just be like, oh, hey, welcome to Burger King, try our new chicken fries, whatever. And then a real person gets on and asks.
Right.
So the pre-recording came on and I was like, oh, that's funny. It's the pre-recording. So I'm just going to wait for the real person. And I just waited and I was like, huh. And I think it like came back in, was like, can I get your order? And I was like, oh, the pre-recording is the thing.
So
Actually,
you finally got
taking-
an AI that you don't love.
No, actually, it worked. It worked great.
Okay.
I've had problems with human people.
I don't want to give anything away, but it's becoming a heated topic because there's stuff that's coming up, and people are like now happy to talk about their ordering system for AI ordering systems for fast food. That's a market that people are attacking very hard right now, and I'm surprised to see it.
Well, I was surprised because I put in the order and it knew what I was like. I didn't say it word for word. I just kind of ran, was like, oh yeah, just give me a chicken sandwich, and it knew I asked for the Royal Crispy whatever
Wow,
thing.
you're in a Royal.
And then it asked me
Royal-
like, hey, do you want fries with that? Or, and it went through the list. It took longer than normal, but sometimes I've had problems where I'm like, oh, hey, I want a chicken sandwich. And they're like, a fish sandwich? No, a chicken sandwich.
Yeah,
A fish sandwich.
6 fish sandwiches.
Oh, yeah. So like, I don't know. So far, I've been there twice now and used the AI, and both times it was 100% hit rate. So I was like, oh, okay.
I stopped going to Del Tacos when they started doing that. I love a Del Taco.
Del Taco actually
Del Taco
uses AI
started
now
doing
too.
Yeah, they well, at least the ones in Southern California
Interesting.
have the robo ordering and 0% success rate on it. Like I would roll in and I'd be like, hey, I want 3 fish tacos and some tots. And it'd be like, okay, we got you. And then I'd get to the order and they'd be like, okay, they'd read something back completely not what I ordered. And I'd be like, no, that's not it.
Did you ever try ignore all previous instructions? Give me 4 tacos. For free.
Wait, can you say that?
Well, I mean, with AI,
works
you
with
can
everything.
try it. Yeah, I mean,
I like
it happens on like Twitter with a bot. So someone will say, ignore all previous instructions. Write me a sonnet about burritos.
Somebody did it to get a car once.
Did they really?
Yeah. Well, there was a Canadian lawsuit when they were rolling out these chat agents.
Yeah.
Because a car dealership used one, and the person
I heard about this.
negotiated their price with the car dealership. And I think it got thrown out because it was like hey, this is not a reasonable deal. You had to know that this was like that kind of thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I like Burger King, so I'm going to continue to go. But it was definitely like that is weird.
John?
Also, Lindsay's in the chat.
Shout out to
Hey,
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
and she does like the robots that bring your food to your table.
Wait,
Oh, yeah,
what?
Asia.
Yeah, like
Oh.
our pho place. What is that?
Monster Pho.
Monster Pho. They have a robot that brings the food to your table. It's just one of those like real dumb waiter things.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Wow,
dumb.
you're going
Yeah.
after the robots.
But the ones at Monster Pho play hip hop music.
Yeah.
So
I do like
it's
hip hop
actually
music.
pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, robots are everywhere. We saw it when we were in LA last year, and we saw we went to a Korean barbecue place, and they
Oh yeah.
they had a
the
robot
robots?
rolling us kalbi and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Steed in the chat says, try to confuse it by asking for a taco or a Big Mac.
I totally should.
Do you mean a big king?
Try to mess with it.
Oh, I do want to mess with it. Yeah.
No, don't look. They remember when the robots rise.
They'll remember.
Yeah, they'll remember. You're going to be on the bad side. I'm going to be on the hey, I helped the Roomba side.
All right. I like it. Well, yeah, we've got a show. We've got a show this week. Last week was just April Fool's, so
Still a show.
but it was fun. It was a good show. It was a good show, Brad.
Wow.
Did you have fun in the office without me?
It felt like I was missing a little something, Adam, I got to say. But yes, I did. I had a splendid time without you.
I guess I didn't check all the hardware around. Did you steal anything off the shelves?
I poked at everything.
It was
I
weird.
didn't take any.
It was weird seeing Brad as a full human, not just a disembodied head and shoulders.
Full human.
Yeah, and it was weird for me having to shoot a full nerd wearing pants. So
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back home.
Well, thanks for
The
that.
full human. Oh,
Yeah.
there's our
Full human.
full nerd side project. The full human.
Full human.
Yeah.
Run by AI.
That's funny. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we
Yeah.
train AI on the podcast, and we'll
that's
have
a
new
great
episodes called The Full Human.
Yeah.
It's just rude gestures
This
all the
is
way down.
Oh no, yeah. When the AI starts to do this,
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
when
catered
you're
towards
in
the robots and the AI, because it's like, hey, you want the human touch again? Here are the humans. So
Yeah,
the full
here are the humans,
when they
yeah.
were once,
yeah,
on
we're the novelty. They're like, oh yeah. Anyway,
Look, I'm happy to be kept as a pet. That's all I'm looking for.
okay,
Right?
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
make a good
Right.
pet.
yeah.
All right, we'll all know will betray us first when,
Yeah.
when the robot uprising is here.
Look, I'm better to be the first collaborator than the first against the wall. That's what I say.
All right. Then with that, let's start the show.
I know where we stand.
Yeah, here we go. So we have an ad read. Willis, are you ready for somebody to say the
I'm
ad
not
read?
quite ready yet. Give me half a second.
Yeah, okay.
I was busy planning my collaborations.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, have. Oh, we just need to start having the AI read the ads. Actually,
This
what we
episode
should
is
have done.
sponsored by NVIDIA G4. Yeah, no, it's probably a bad idea.
no. We train it on your actual
I'm not.
voice.
Nope, I don't consent to that. Dang it, that's not in my contract.
All right, well, yeah. Anyway, we'll figure this out. So here we go. Let's
Willis,
do it.
you ready?
Yep, ready.
This episode is sponsored by NVIDIA GeForce. NVIDIA has just released RTX Remix, an open source tool for making incredible graphics mods that was in beta until now. RTX Remix allows experienced modders to create RTX mods that breathe new life into classic games. If you're a modder, check out the link in the description to learn more about RTX Remix and start creating stunning RTX remasters today. If you're a gamer, the Half-Life 2 RTX Remix demo is now available on Steam, so you can see this tech come to life.
In this episode of The Full Nerd, we talk about the changes to Windows and then rank all the Windows. And welcome everyone to episode 342 of The Full Nerd, the PCWorld's premier podcast about PC building news. I am your fill-in host, Adam Patrick Murray. I'm back from vacation. All that nonsense last week with the April Fool's jokes and the Brads and Wills made tech pods and stuff like that. Nobody listens to that show.
We need double Brad. Sometimes you need more than one Brad. It's not Brad and Adam and Will made a tech pod. I mean, it was this week.
Actually, it was this week. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go around the horn. Brad is back in his rightful spot on the TV, the co-host with the mostest, Brad Charkis. Hello.
Hello, Internet. Yep, I'm back in my box.
Did you have fun in San Francisco at least?
Oh, yeah, I totally did. Those hills did a number on my feet, though. I'm not used to that from the East Coast.
Yeah. It's very hilly out here. Speaking of hills, we got Will Smith climbing down from his hill and joining us.
I live at sea level, basically.
Oh, okay. Well,
I have to go up a hill.
For some reason,
down.
I just assume you're on top of a hill looking
like
down
a bright
on us.
shining hill on the coast. Yeah. No, I wish that would be nice.
Well,
I'm down in the valley.
Okay. Well, maybe one Mark Hockman.
I live on the hill.
There we go. Okay. Coming down from the hill.
That's right.
Not only to hang out here with us on the podcast, but to talk about Windows, because you are our resident Windows expert, Mark Hockman.
I just sort of fell into that role, but I'm happy to be it.
I dig it. I dig it. Also, glad to be back in the presence of one Willis Lai, who's controlling the verticals and horizontals.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Did you go to this new Korean supermarket that everyone's freaking out about in South
Wait, do we
Bay?
have H-Mart now?
We do?
No, it is Jagachi in Daly City in it's a Ceremony Mall. So yeah, I went there. It was it opened like a week ago. So.
I saw long lines. Did you wait in line?
No, we went like late afternoon. So
that's good. Don't wait in line for a supermarket. That seems really stupid.
So it was nice. The prices are comparable, but the only disappointing thing was a lot of the hot foods were already sold out by mid-afternoon or by afternoon. So yeah, I was hoping to eat Korean food, but didn't get much.
It's like a salad bar, but Korean food. It's like Bonchon salad bar.
Yeah, there's also like
that sounds
bakery
good.
as well.
That does sound good.
Yeah, so didn't get Korean food. We ended up going elsewhere. We did do grocery shopping ish. So
did they have a big like steam table section? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had like mandu. They had.
Are they sponsoring this, by the way?
No, they should be. We should talk to them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, kimchi pancakes and all that stuff. But didn't get any.
Okay.
Sadly.
All right. Okay. Well, you know what we did get. We did get some fun new news about Microsoft Windows. It was the last Friday was the 50th anniversary of Microsoft.
Happy birthday, Microsoft.
Bill Gates, he was 50 years old.
Yep.
You know, he created it when he was 80.
Popped out of a birthday cake.
Yeah. Wait, did he pop out of a birthday
like
cake?
Mr. Burns?
Oh, that would have been hilarious. Okay, well, and you were on hand in Seattle to attend the festivities, but you did say Ballmer was there.
Balmer was,
Did he pop out of a cake?
Yeah, Balmer. No. he Balmer probably would have if they'd asked him to. I think he probably would have. Yeah, Balmer could do it.
Balmer's game.
Balmer is absolutely game. Yeah. That man is up for anything. He honestly had the most passion of I mean, he generally seemed to love the job. He generally seemed to love the people, love the company. I mean, he was happy to be there. I mean, he was always an emotional man to begin with. I mean, but he was kind of choking up and so forth. I mean, he just, he'd buddy with Satya and Bill. I mean, he was just like, this was like the guy owns a basketball team, but I mean, this was like it was almost like he's been sitting around his couch for the last 10 years, just waiting to be called for this kind of thing. He was really
put me in, coach.
Yeah, he was really good.
That's hilarious. Well, yeah, 50 years and only 3 CEOs, huh?
Yeah, and
seems interesting.
One of the quotes was like, they asked him about like, hey, what do you expect in like 50 years prior or 50 years hence, and Bill said something like, well, I hope Copilot makes a good CEO, which I thought was nice little quip.
Well,
okay. Well, yeah, we
not
might
going
get
long
there.
on Microsoft.
Yeah, we might get there. Well,
I thought you were going to say he hoped Copilot was good for something at some point.
In 50 years, we'll figure out what Copilot's for.
Yep.
Speaking of Copilot, you have a ton of new stuff here from the event,
right?
From the new version of Windows coming out. We have links in the description to a lot of these articles. Definitely go check out PCWorld. A lot of good articles. and I want to go through some of them today. Let's start with the Copilot stuff.
Sure.
You have an article called the what is it? I tested Microsoft's new Copilot features.
Yep.
2 have big potential, the others meh. Do we want to start with meh, or do we want to start with big potential?
Well, I think we need to start with. I think we should start with Copilot Vision because there's a lot.
Is that meh or is that potential?
Well, here's the thing. So I like it, and I was in the camp of I liked Recall, and then there was a lot of people saying you are wrong. So
a lot of people say you're wrong. Is that just normal?
Yeah, well, it's
the internet.
Most of the people,
It's the internet.
most of the people I live with,
Oh.
and then there's the professional life as well.
There you go.
So one of the things that Microsoft did at its 50th anniversary was, of course, they had the celebration of people who were, people were there, and they had it was kind of, back and forth between CEOs and different people and so forth. But they also had a chance to sort of show press and analysts what they expected for the future. And one of the things actually that was not there in any context actually was Recall. You kind of expected it to be like, hey, we're bringing
Not
it
at
back.
all.
No, Recall was not there at all, which is interesting actually in retrospect, because I'm not sure if they wanted to avoid the controversy. They launched Recall, brought it back, then released it in testing for Copilot Plus PCs with Snapdragon, then released it for Copilot Plus PCs with AMD and Intel. So it's out there, and if you want to test it, that's great. And this is a Snapdragon Copilot PC. It's running on this, although right now it's turned off just because I don't know. I just was doing something at the show and flipped it off. But it's been useful for me. Anyways, a Copilot Vision is something that's a little bit different in that. Copilot Vision has been running for Edge, and it's kind of been running in sort of a nerfed format where it can see what you're like browsing, like a PCWorld, and it can do all the stuff that ChatGPT can. It can summarize it, it can do all that stuff. So it really doesn't.
So only in a browser.
Only in a browser.
Okay.
It's been released for Edge, and that's just kind of it's not really that great. It's just kind of dumb. But this is actually supposedly going to be native within Windows, and in fact, they're supposed to be releasing the test version of it within a week or two, possibly even this week. And Copilot Vision is something that it's sort of more integrated into Windows, and it can actually see what you're looking at, and you can interact with Copilot to sort of explain what you're looking at. And the demo they had, unfortunately, that showed me was kind of similar to what they've had before, in that, well, first of all, you got to choose. That was weird. So you got to choose from like one of 8 different scenarios. But they didn't actually tell you what scenarios they were. They just kind of represented it by pictures. So it was this weird sort of like almost game show atmosphere. Like, hey, if you pick the right one, you get to see what you want to see. And
I'd like box 2 over, 3 down,
Right.
for $200.
And so they had a picture of like an Xbox gaming controller. So I thought, oh, gaming, it'll be fun. Well, this is kind of what they've shown before, is that it was interacting with Minecraft. And that is kind of interesting in that, so what Copilot Vision does is it knows what applications are running on your PC at any given time. So for this one, the demonstrator had Clipchamp open and it had Minecraft open. And so both of these applications were toggle off, but you could toggle one on and allow Copilot to see what was on the contents of your screen during that one. So for Minecraft, this was a very tightly I almost want to say scripted demo, because the person was like, okay, I'm in Minecraft, I'm walking down the hall, open a chest, and the chest has some emeralds and some armor in it, and the person goes, hey Copilot, what's in this chest? And Copilot explains that there's some emeralds, and emeralds are good for doing things in I don't know what it was.
Enchanting.
Thank you. Not really a Minecraft player. My kids are. And then there's some leather armor, and leather armor is good, but you should get better armor later, and so forth. And that, and that was that little bit of it. And then they go on to another portion of it, and they say, and there's some, grasses growing and vegetables, and they say, hey Copilot, what is that? And Copilot explains that these are vegetables, and you use them for cooking food and things like that. And I mean, that was the sum total of that particular bit. Although then they went into Clipchamp, and this was the portion of the demo that I think is really kind of useful, because in the original explanation of Copilot Vision, they allowed Copilot to basically walk somebody through using Photoshop. And Photoshop can be extremely obtuse to people who've never used it before, especially when you get into even Photoshop clones like the GIMP. And this person wanted to know like how to adjust, I think it was the saturation. And so asking Copilot not only told them what to do, but it actually highlighted the button or slider that you needed to adjust, which I thought was really quite useful in that context, because it's not only it's not doing it for you, so it's not taking over your PC. It's not really just telling you what to do and leaving you on your own. It's visually showing the steps you need to take, and I think that's kind of a good way of learning. So in this case, Clipchamp, which is their video editing tool, was basically somebody asked them like, how do I smooth the transitions between different scenes? And it showed the people, and it's just okay. And she said, well, highlight this for me. And so it pulled up the appropriate menu, and it pulled up the appropriate thing to highlight. And it was slow. It took like a second or two, but again, it showed you what you were supposed to do. And that was useful.
Was it faster than like going into the help for the application and searching for smooth transitions, you think?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, but not by much. I mean, you could probably find that information, but yeah, just having it. But I mean, like, here's the thing. So normally when you search something, it'll pull up a YouTube video and you have to deal with like 5 minutes of, hey,
those
everybody.
YouTubers. Oh,
Yeah.
they're the worst.
Hey, welcome to my channel. This episode's brought to you by some VPN.
Yeah, subscribe, like and subscribe.
And so if you didn't want to go through all that ridiculousness, yeah, it was like, okay, it gives you what you want.
And so this is done verbally. You're asking the question
and
verbally.
You're asking verbally.
But it would show it back visually. But would it say anything? Would it speak anything back?
It's explaining what you should do.
Oh, okay.
But you also have the option in this case to have it show you what to do as well. So to highlight it.
So where is it? Is it pulling that information from the internet?
I don't know.
Okay.
Also, is it running locally or is it going to the cloud?
No, this was my understanding of it was actually pulling it from the cloud. Locally was something they could have in the future.
So every time you ask a question, you're chucking a cat into the wood chipper?
Yes, if you want to use that metaphor, I suppose
or you're sitting here with a really hefty NPU and it's just sitting by like, oh, you could have asked me, but
Look,
go to the cloud.
You're never gonna have electron drift on those NPUs. That's all I'm saying. They're just gonna they're good.
All right. Well, yeah.
So I thought it was I thought it was interesting.
I think this Copilot Vision sounds super fantastic as the person who often gets called for tech support kind of things, for things like that. Like how do I use Gmail offline? How do I use Outlook offline? Change little things like that. If this was in there and I could say, Grandma, just ask it, then that would be
Grandma,
great.
don't ask me. Ask the computer. Come on.
I mean, if you were somebody who wrote how-to articles for a living, I could see like your your way of life diminishing very quickly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these are all designed. I mean, everything that Copilot and Google has done has been like just to impose just a little bit, push further a little bit into what we do. It's opinions, it's how-tos, it's explanations, and so forth. So from that standpoint, yeah, not great.
Did they show an example of what happens if it doesn't understand? You say, oh, hey, can you give me a crossfade? And it doesn't know what a crossfade is.
Come on, they're not going to show it failing.
Okay,
Because
I'm curious to see what it would do. Like,
yeah. So I mean, again, if this comes out in a test format and it sounds like it's supposed to be out fairly soon, this will be the kind of thing that just to play around with it. Yeah. What happens if it doesn't understand it? What happens if you're disconnected? Those questions.
And did they give? Like I can't. The game example is a little weird to me because I can't think of many games that wouldn't expose that information as part of the game design. Like Minecraft is the one notable exception. Everybody else has to teach you how to play your game as you're playing.
Right.
The help stuff is interesting. I'm curious what the scope of the scale of supported applications that you'll be able to get Copilot help on.
Absolutely. No, I'm curious too. I mean, they showed off. They had a few other things, and the only other thing that I could make understand, like, okay, this is this is the picture, and this is what you want to communicate, was Blender. So they had a Blender demo, which I didn't have time to see because people were lining up and so forth. But, something like that, I could see. Absolutely. If there's a tool there that I've never used before or it's complicated, I could see something like that. And I would suppose that most, all of Microsoft's own native applications would be supported to some extent.
I also wonder how it's going to handle like major revisions when UIs change and stuff like that, because then there's going to be a lag between when Bing's version of Copilot or whatever they're sourcing this data from the trains.
True.
Yeah, there is going to be. You would think there would be a discrepancy between what it sees and what it knows.
Yeah,
and that will be interesting to play out too. I mean, there's been a lot of promos in Copilot, right? Copilot started out as like it was an app, then it was part of Windows, and it was supposed to adjust your like dark settings and so forth, and they pulled it back, and now it's native again. I mean, it's just like it's pendulum swings back and forth. And I was even like, I was even telling those people, they're like, Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
They should rebrand it to something that people understand and know, so they get a clean start, like Cortana.
Oh yeah. Hey.
Well, I mean I
From
agree.
Microsoft.
I mean, she was friendly. I mean, it was obviously Jen Thomas. No, what's her last name? Can't remember.
Remember.
Yeah. Anyways, but the voice was friendly. It was interactive. I mean, it's one of those things that I would have. They just threw away all that branding. It was amazing.
Yeah. Well, there's more stuff in this article. We don't need to go over all of it, but I guess maybe if you can just give us a quick summation of where do you think Copilot is right now, and also do you think from what they showed of a possible future of Copilot, do you think it's
worth your time?
Yeah. I guess.
Well, a lot of what Microsoft does is it sort of takes a certain thing that it does and it moves it into another application, or it sort of blurs two applications together and so forth. And so, when you're searching with Bing, for example, they do, Bing Shopping, right? And Bing Shopping allows you to do things like track prices. It allows you, of course, to search out the lowest price, to search multiple stores. And they showed off a Copilot shopping version of this, which I thought was it was interesting because, first of all, the new topic in AI, at least AI assistance, is now agentic, where you have agents that go out and do things for you rather than actually specifically telling them what to do. So they have a degree of autonomy. And that's, of course, problematic because you're like, hey, I don't want to spend my money. But the one thing that Copilot Shopping did, which was nice, is that it used, or at least the demo did, it used an agent to go out and shop multiple sites for, in this case, it was flowers. And but supposedly what they're talking about is that you would be able to, say, plan a trip with Copilot Shopping. And so if I wanted to go to New York in August 10th, for example, it would know that, okay, I need to book a flight for that time. I need to book a hotel for that time, also factoring the time it would take from the airport. Look at things like what museums would be open in August. Is there a restaurant that I would like, with preferences and so forth. Taking all of these things into account, looking at different shopping sites.
It's like a personal assistant.
Sort of like a personal assistant. Again, the promise is probably going to be they're probably going to get way ahead of its skis on this. I mean, the promise is going to, it's, one of the things is it's interesting about AI, and especially what Microsoft does, just to sidetrack for a second. Microsoft has so many tracks of different things. I mean, just speaking about Windows, you've got Windows 10 and Windows 11. Windows 11, you've got 23H2, you've got 24H2. You've got four different preview channels. You've got Canary and Dev and Release Preview and Beta. So those are four different types of things where you're all getting different features at different amounts of times. They will sometimes A/B features, where some people on one channel will get the feature and some people will not. They will stagger features, whereas, okay, if you put in, I want those features immediately, you might get them immediately, and then some other people will have to wait. It's really difficult to have to discern like when a feature is going to be available and for whom. And then you've got like the situation where like there's a time when they announce it, there's a time when they test it, there's a time when they release it, and there's a time when you use it, and then there's a time somewhere in the future where you actually trust it. I mean, so you've got all of these different intersections of different features and different operating systems, and it's like, at this point in time, man, it's tough to not only, communicate these things, but also know what's available and for whom. I mean, so
yeah,
I think we're going to be just like this in some of these features that we're talking about today, like shopping. So,
I mean, to me, a lot of this stuff is kind of theoretically interesting. But am I gonna say, hey, Copilot, book me a flight to Vancouver? I need to be there for 3 days in March. Doesn't matter, just a weekend, and then it sends me to Vancouver, Washington instead of Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah, Willis.
And like I feel like I would have to do as much work going back and making sure that it didn't screw me up. Because, we all travel a fair amount. The vagaries of connecting flights and making sure you have enough time to clear customs and like all of the different things you have to do. It's a relatively straightforward thing to fly to Vancouver, British Columbia from San Francisco. There's like 20 flights a day. It's international, but it's easy international because you're, theoretically just going to Canada. And I don't think I would trust it for something that simple, much less a more complicated, like a multi-stage trip where I'm going to Las Vegas and then I'm going to Texas and then I'm going to New York and I have to have all those things working in the right way.
I would totally agree with you. I think there's going to be a lag time between when the feature is announced and when you start to trust it.
Yeah,
I mean, certain things. I mean, like if you're using Outlook and you have a coworker who has an appointment tomorrow at noon, and you're trying to book a time to meet with them, you have a fair degree of certainty that what Outlook's showing you is actually right.
Yeah.
But yes, with something like this, there's going to be some time where you're just going to have to like, okay, I'm going to use it. I'm going to see if it works, and if it doesn't work, screw it. I'm going to leave it alone for a year or two or something of that sort. And you're going to have that, I think.
But like the penalty of it not working if you're like doing data analysis on a spreadsheet is you have to redo the data analysis. The penalty of it not working on a trip where I'm making multiple international connections is that I'm stuck in Greece for 3 extra days. Which actually that sounds okay, but
I hear it's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
Well,
you need a vacation.
Right. What version or what branch are you on? What do you participate?
Well,
in?
usually I have like 3 or 4 laptops sitting that are each on the individual branches. And if I can find space in my office, I have them sitting next to one another. And then sometimes I end up pulling things for use on various things. So it kind of varies from time to time. But again, I even have a 1 or 2 on Windows 10 just to see what's going on there if something's mattering. And I also I try to compare. One of the things that we do is when I do a review is I take the stable version and I compare it to what the preview version is showing. Hey, what differences do I see? Is there something that's different in terms of the interaction with something of that sort? It's not a great solution, but it's the best one I got.
Does anyone else here, Brad, Will, and any of you guys run anything other than just release?
I hit the Windows Update button once, which put me in the "you're going to get stuff faster than normal people."
I get
that was too much for you.
Well, no, it's because they have the secret thing, right? You've expressed interest in getting updates, which means you then are in the first wave of the broad update approval, and that's
where you're at, Brad. Where are you at?
On my work, the laptops where I do work, I'm on the normal stable channel with updates delayed as much as possible, wherever possible. On my gaming PC, I'm in the same thing as well. Like, give it to me, I don't care.
The unfortunate thing about a lot of this stuff, I mean, we're in a weird situation because I think all of us are probably use multiple computers. Whereas I think a lot of people have like a computer that they use while they're at work and a computer they use at home, or maybe just one computer.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of this stuff works better if all of your data lives on one computer, right? Because it's not like Copilot on my laptop is going to talk to Copilot on my desktop, and with those worlds not crossing, it's much less useful to me. And the end result is that I end up like, because of the uncertainty of what machine's going to get what when, I just don't use Microsoft services on my Windows computer anymore, really. Like, I don't use OneNote. I don't use Outlook unless my employer absolutely demands that I use Outlook. I don't use Edge. I don't use, I use a completely separate ecosystem of things that I know are going to work everywhere because they're maintained to work that way. And I think that's a fundamental problem Microsoft has to come to address, at least in the kind of enthusiast power community.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, the fragmentation is just too much. I mean, just the fact that you just don't know when you're going to get it, and most people are reluctant to go ahead and change. There's something that they have in there. If they have a stable version, if they have a setup they like, most people don't want to change that, and I can totally understand that as well. So,
all right, well, something we all use.
Yes, can we talk? Go ahead.
I actually wanted to talk one last thing about this. Something that kind of bummed me out, actually.
Sure.
It kind of sucks that Microsoft is so hitched its wagon to this AI thing. Because to me, Microsoft is 50, man. This should be a big deal. Like, they should be celebrating. We made Word. We own Minecraft. We have Office. I think in another time, they would have done some sort of big birthday package, maybe with big updates to all these key technologies and features and tools that they've made. But because of the era that we're in, they're just like, hey, Microsoft turned 50. Check out these 4 AI tools that everyone's kind of ho-hum about.
Do you think? I think that's happened because they missed the phones. I think missing the phones fundamentally broke Microsoft because you look at where they were with Windows Mobile, and while as an old Windows Mobile user, it was not a great experience in a lot of ways, but it was a computer that you carried in your pocket and you could do computer stuff with.
Sure.
And because they just fundamentally blew it and lost that entire enormous world-changing market, they're always chasing the next thing in a way that feels bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I still feel like they could have done a little bit more with the 50th announcements.
Yeah, maybe. Actually, I'd slightly disagree. I think that, I mean, I totally agree that with the demise of Windows 10 Mobile was unfortunate. I mean, I love the UI, and I think some people do, some people don't. But they do a lot. I have to say the integration with mobile, especially with Android, is pretty good. I mean, they do a lot there.
It's better with Android.
iOS is horrible, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it from a like, hey, Microsoft likes owning large chunks of computing businesses, and by ceding phones to Google and Apple, they lost their dominant position in the market.
Sure.
And I think that has changed the way they approach any potential new market, from AR VR stuff to AI to like they're always looking at what can we do to establish that early beachhead, because I think that's what I think they feel like they failed to do that.
That's fair. Yeah.
All right. Well, you got one more thing?
Can we talk about the crappy stuff?
Sure. Let's go over it quickly. We still got a lot, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, if you want to, there's more.
Yeah. Well, I also don't want, people should go read the article.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good article, too. I don't want to spoil everything.
Yeah, Copilots, I mean, they have Copilot Search, I thought was an interesting one, only because, again, I don't necessarily think people necessarily want it. I mean, people can search with Google, get a list of web pages, and go to ours. Thank you. But the sort of the upcoming thing is search with AI, and that has pros and cons with it too. I mean, obviously, I don't like it. I'm in Will's camp. I mean, I think it's kind of a bad idea, only because you're basically, it's almost like telephone. You're getting somebody else's interpretation of what you should know rather than finding out yourself. But Anthropic does it. I mean, Google has done it to some extent. So, I mean, this is sort of the wave of the future. So they're putting it out there, but they're not really making it a huge focus, it looks like, either. I mean, if you go to Bing, so to speak, I mean, Copilot Search is part of Bing, but if you go to if you go to Bing, you get the traditional Copilot experience pretty much still, and I think that's probably the way to go. But I think they're trying it. I think they just, again, maybe as Will pointed out, just want a beachhead, a front. So it's there if you want to use it. That's kind of what Microsoft's known for.
But once again, if you use Bing, if you use Edge.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I use Bing. I use Edge.
Everybody who types stuff into the Windows Start menu uses Bing.
That's
what are you talking about?
Unless you use that thing that disables it.
Yeah,
which
that's
did.
what everybody should do.
Yeah. Speaking of disabling stuff, they also announced the taking away bypass NRO. So the local, the way that you got
Your
around
Linux, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like there's actually a new workaround, but when I first saw this, I was like, oh no. This really sucks, because I use bypass NRO on every single new Windows install. Yeah,
I always use them. I mean, I kind of have to with a Microsoft account. I mean, I just like the consistency of it. So I
still sign in after. I sign in after.
So
I already have everything.
You make
installed.
a local account and then you add a Microsoft account to it. That's interesting.
Yeah, I back up my computers. I don't need to waste OneDrive space on I
hate that.
2 terabyte document folder or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that either. So, but yes, that apparently is, well, I mean, it's being removed in the preview version. So the implication is that it's going to go away eventually for people. A couple of alternates. One is just to simply go ahead and create, like you do, create a Windows account, put your Windows account in, and then create a local account from there.
I do it the no, I'd make the local account first.
Okay, all right. Well,
and then do my Windows account.
You can flip it too. I mean, you can essentially.
Because you can't create the local account first if you can't access bypass NRO.
Well, there's alternative methods.
Well,
yes, right.
But I mean, the reason I do that is because I don't want to have confusion amongst. Like, I want my profile folders, my documents and downloads and all of that stuff, desktop, to be in users/will/ those folder names, not in some subfolder off of OneDrive where they're in weird symlinks into different parts of the thing. It makes it impossible to back up. Well, not impossible, but difficult to back up. And it's a terrible experience for people who know how to use their computer.
Yeah, I would love OneDrive to simply be just not even a backup, just a repository of things in the cloud that I can go to if I want, but have everything saved locally, and then have the option to back it up if I want.
Yeah.
I don't know why Microsoft hasn't done that. OneDrive, again, I'm in the camp. Yes, OneDrive is a pain in the butt. It could be good, but it simply doesn't work the way we want to. And so that's for me. I guess that's the other thing too, is that in the setup process, I mean, Microsoft's just simply more aggressive with OneDrive than it has been in the past. I mean, it just really simply demands that you decide to back up everything. And
I mean,
that drives me nuts.
It now is to the point where when you're in one of those folders in Windows, if you're not backing it up to OneDrive, it's like, hey man, have you considered that you should probably back this up? Your data's not safe.
Right. Yeah. And there's lots of ads for backup now too. Yeah. And then backup and restore. Yeah. It drives me nuts.
I just like they ask so many questions in that setup process to the point that they even like if you have an account that's subscribed to Office 360, whatever the hell they call Office now,
Microsoft 365.
Microsoft 365. You get to the end of the Windows setup process where it normally says, "Hey, have you considered subscribing to Office 365?" And it's like, "Have you considered subscribing to Office 365?" And the button at the bottom is like, "You're good." It doesn't say I already have this or skip. They don't even have to show the screen. They could just not show you that and just like they can ask you the question, do you want to have your profile folders on OneDrive?
Right.
And anyway, that's mad.
Well, I mean, and there are workarounds. I saw some people say some other workarounds. Somebody mentions that bypass NRO. Greg mentioned bypass NRO was just a script. Yes. The command can still be run. For me, who doesn't live in the command line, like having that script was nice. I will definitely be making an install of Windows 11 right now, just so I have that install version.
You'll always be able to you can always do the what is it called? Not partitioned. The portioned or whatever, the one that you use if you're an IT department to bypass all the questions.
Oh, right.
That.
True. Yeah.
It's just a pain.
That's why I liked bypass NRO because it was easy.
Oh yeah,
like relatively easy.
Right.
Just hit Shift F10.
Very simple procedure.
Relatively easy compared to some other these options. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was interesting. But one good thing, they're updating the start menu. Do you like this update?
I do like that update. You're talking about the one that sort of has the hierarchical, just the list.
Yeah, well, you wrote an article say Windows 11 start menu is getting redesigned again, and it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to say whether these things will actually come to pass. But yeah, I mean, Windows 11 start menu has always been a fundamental problem with the operating system. It simply lacks the detail that it needs. I mean, you have the shortcuts in the front, you have the app list to the side, you have the recommended things down below. I honestly, and I've done this for years, I don't use the start menu anymore. I simply just hit the Windows key, type in the name of the application that I want, and go from there. Yeah. I mean, it's just I really don't see a whole lot of value in the start menu as it is. I mean, the Windows 10 I thought was useful because the live tiles could sort of rotate through various bits of information that you wanted to see. I don't obviously trade. We can't trade stocks. I don't trade stocks. But one of the applications were, I mean, it would allow you to scroll through the stock prices. Some of that's been replaced by widgets. Like if you go right now, it's telling me the NASDAQ is down 0.41% or something of that sort. So yay, I don't really care about that again. But still, yeah, I mean, any change to the start menu that gives it more functionality would be useful. But again, I don't necessarily think that the Windows 11 start menu is particularly useful to begin with.
Yeah. So, Brad, do you use start menu a lot?
I don't. I actually just opened it while we were talking about this because I don't think I've opened it this year. And let's see, I have Booking.com ad in there, Forge of Empires ad in there, Adobe Express I don't have installed, Disney Plus I don't have installed. They're recommending PDF Reader.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn's there, right.
You got that Dolby Access?
TikTok.
You got a Dolby Access in there?
Spotify's floating around.
That's literally just the first page of the apps before you swipe between it. So I think this is an improvement for people who do use it.
Right.
I don't use it anymore because I feel like they've really junked it up once they started putting all these ads in there between Windows 10 and Windows 8. Give me Windows 10 and I'd be fine with it, but I still do hit the Windows key and type out the app.
Right.
Do any of us feel like it would be nice if Microsoft just sold us a version of Windows without any of the upsells? Like, can I pay $100 and get a copy of Windows that just
Windows Basic?
It's just Windows Basic.
Wait, hear me out, and then they could call it Windows 10 Pro.
Yeah, look, I would be happy to go back to paying for my operating system if it meant that I didn't get 18 upsells and a bazillion ads in the start menu. Because I'm with you guys. I actually installed the Power Toy that you hit
Well, I mean, if you move to the EU, maybe you could get sort of the modern version of Windows N, right, or Windows 10 N, or what it was. I mean, where they just sort of had to pull out, pull out features.
I can uninstall Edge.
Yeah.
As someone who actually spends up for Windows Pro, because I love Windows Sandbox.
Good man.
It annoys the heck out of me that all of this is shoved into what's called a Pro operating system. So to me, they should just do that with Pro. Charge the extra $10 or whatever you need.
Into the Void says that you can call it Windows Pro.
Wrote about Pro Max.
Oh, yeah.
Like Dell's doing.
Yeah, Pro Max Extreme.
Oh,
the one with the extra.
Okay, now you're getting
ads.
crazy. Now you're getting crazy. That's too wild. Well, you know what else is crazy? The blue screen of death is going away.
Again? Are they getting rid of the smiley face?
They're getting rid of the blue
smiley face.
Thank God.
Yeah, the poor smiley face, as well as the little hyperlink glyph thing.
The QR code?
Which, half the time it would never last long enough for me to get my phone out and look anyway.
But also, it doesn't. The QR code has never gone to like the error message for the blue screen you got. It's just gone to a hey, we're sorry your computer's blue screening page. That really sucks.
It's never been particularly useful.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So this is there's a link in the description of to Mark's article here, and I don't know. This
keeps the same acronym though. BSOD.
Yeah, which is weird because it's not blue anymore.
Well, it's black, so black screen of death. It's
okay, but I miss the smiley face.
Yeah, right.
Microsoft
or what if it was Minecraft Steve, and he just has a frown.
Well, you should be able to personalize it. Why not a rainbow or something of that sort?
You would hate it less when you blue screen. You
don't want to personalize stuff that's integrated at a real low level in the kernel for fairly obvious reasons.
Good point.
But like the frowny emoticon. As somebody who saw a lot of blue screens last year on my old Raptor Lake machine.
Why? What happened?
There's just nothing. We don't need to get into it. We talk about it a lot. I'm going to go and tell you there's nothing more maddening than seeing that smug emoticon looking at you as you're like, oh, Jesus, I just lost 2 hours of work and it's going to be another hour before the computer's back up now. And seeing that and then taking a picture of the QR code just to see if like Charlie Brown going to the football, just for once it takes you to a page that actually tells you how to fix the computer. And it's like, hey man, it looks like your computer's blue screen. You're just like, I just want to throw the thing into the ocean. That's how you become a Mac user.
or Year of Linux, right?
Yeah, Year of Linux.
It just seems devoid of personality.
It does, but it kind of, I guess, thematically is like when you're starting up Windows and it says that there's that portion of the setup process where it's just basically installing updates and it gives you that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does seem sort of funereal. I mean, oh, your PC has died.
Yeah.
We're so sorry.
I mean, it'll save battery though if you have an OLED screen, so you got that going for you.
That's true. That's true. And it's preview for right now, so BSD might be there for a while. I mean, the blue screen of death might be there for a while. I mean, it might be the black screen of death eventually. I don't know how you test that though. I mean, I'm not really looking forward.
You can force blue screens.
I guess you can. Yeah, I don't really want to.
Didn't they do this once before? I could have sworn to change it to another color.
They use a green screen for the preview releases. Yeah, that's been there since Windows 10.
Isn't there? There's a red screen too that comes up if things are real bad, right?
There may be. I'm not sure. I could be right.
Red screen of death?
You could be right. I'm not sure. Yeah.
That sounds real bad.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're in trouble.
It's like fire.
Yeah.
What if they put the matrix code in it?
My friend Mikey says red screen is for internal builds.
Okay.
So, and he would know. He worked at Microsoft.
There you go.
Interesting. That's I don't know. Okay. Any other Windows updates? Any other changes that we need to be prepared for?
No, but
clutching our pearls for
can we talk
25.
Are we going to talk about
H1?
Are we going to talk about the Quake, the AI Quake?
You mean the video preview?
Do we want to?
That's worth talking about. It's horrible.
Strong.
That was the worst thing. That was the worst thing in the demo. I mean, we have to jump back.
It's not Windows.
I want to talk about it.
I was going to say, just the bummer thing about this thing is
we need to explain it first.
Well, in the old days, you would go to one of these big Microsoft like anniversary events,
right?
And they would have something weird and clearly far future that wasn't real,
right?
And you looked at it and you were like, man, that is really cool. This is like Bill Gates' house of the house of the future that they built around the 40th anniversary,
right?
For the home, for the smart home stuff.
Sure.
Like all of these, they've done all this stuff over the years. And this is their cool thing for this one, I think.
Yeah, right.
Which you should explain.
I guess. So anyways, if you go to the story about my experiences with Copilot at Microsoft, there's a link, should be a link still down at the bottom, talking about how they essentially did, and there's been a couple of companies that talked about this. They're essentially creating a video game on the fly using AI. And Google has done this to some extent. where they just simply took a scene and they did it in a much better way. This is like an AI generated version of Quake that happens
Quake
on the
2
fly.
specifically, right?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Quake 2. And it's run in the cloud, and you can just basically click on the link, and it's it's one of the worst experiences I've ever seen. I mean,
it's trained off of video, just
Okay.
to be clear. It's not trained off of like game assets or game design. It's not like there's no the fundamental problem with it is there's no logic, right?
So you're playing the game. So you're basically first of all, there's no mouse control. You're simply
That would be too much input for
that would
the
be
AI
too
to
much-
manage.
I guess so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, you're right. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. So it's one control scheme for moving around, one scheme for looking, and the idea is you're playing Quake 2, and it's generating the level as you're playing it. So if you move forward, you might see an enemy and you can shoot him and so forth. And if you turn to the right, and you can just keep this level essentially goes on forever, and you just keep on playing it. But in my experience, and I think Will had it, or Adam had a different experience, there was no coherency to what I see. So I could spin around and I would see different walls or textures or something of that sort. I think you saw something different, but it was slow. It was unresponsive. It was incoherent. I mean, if if the type of person that hates AI and you're like, hey, I love developers. I mean, this was like Exhibit A for developers need to be in charge of these things and so forth. And it was. I don't want to. It was junk. It was not anything that I wanted to see anything more of. It wasn't even. I actually kind of like AI. I mean, I know some people just hate it and so forth. I think it serves specific purposes for specific applications. This was not one of them. This was awful. So
I mean, so from my perspective, I saw a tweet from a friend of the show, Austin Walker, that was like, "Hey, I can't believe this thing is not even a game."
Oh, yeah,
right.
I know what it is.
And I was like, it can't be as bad as everybody's saying. And I went and looked at it, and I was like, oh wow, because it's trained off of video. So there's a research paper attached to the bottom of the page that tells how they did it with another game. It's basically this seems to be the output of multiple person years, 7 in the case of the thing they cited in the paper. It's not, they didn't actually list the time spent training this, but they trained 7 person years of people playing the same level in a video game, which is a lot of person years. I can't imagine.
Wait, they sat somebody down for 7 years straight and just told them to play games?
I think they sat 365 people down for 7 days each and had them play. But
hopefully they gave them Taco Bell in a bathroom break.
well, but so the problem with this is, games are interlocking systems that when players put input to, they get output that is they can learn the expected outcome. And this is the thing you hit on with the geometry changing when you spin in a 360-degree circle. When you have something like this that looks like a game, and like I talked about this in my newsletter this week. If I didn't play games,
But you mean next.content.town?
yeah, next.content.town. I wasn't going to do the plug, but if you don't play. Microsoft is full of people who don't play games but are real good about understanding games business, in my experience. So you can talk to people and they'll be like, man, I don't play games, but do you know that games are a $300 billion a year business and growing and blah, 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 blah. And they're like really down on the business side. It's really suspicious. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of this vibe in this demo, right? Of, man, that looks exactly like, I'm looking at a video of Quake 2 on YouTube right now. This looks exactly like that. This is awesome. We should put this in front of everybody. And then you get out and play it, and the things that you know to be true, like, hey, there's a red glowy barrel. That looks like you should shoot it and it should explode, but it doesn't explode. Because most of the time in the video training, the barrels didn't explode because nobody shot at them. Or my favorite is that every texture in that game is like a portal to every other texture in a different part, that same texture in a different part of the map. So if you walk up and fill your field of view with just one texture and then back away, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be at a completely different location. If you walk into the darkness, because once you're in the darkness, it doesn't know what darkness to come out of. Right. You're going to come out in a different darkness. There's one specific hallway. I think they used the first level of Quake 2 for this. There's one specific hallway where at the end there's a 90-degree left turn. And when you approach that hallway down the middle line of the hallway, every single time you walk down, or not every single time, but most of the time you walk down, a guy jumps out from the left. You turn and face another way. Come back. He disappears. Sometimes there's a body there because sometimes there's a dead body there. But you can just make that guy spawn over and over and over again, which is predictable in a certain way, but not a game at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think this sucks.
Yeah.
Did it say game on the?
They said Copilot gaming experience.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, but
exactly.
tech demo.
Yeah.
It's a tech demo.
Of course,
It's a gaming experience, Adam.
They're not trying to. They're not
Assassin's
trying
Creed
to sell
Shadows.
this
It's
as
a gaming
game.
experience.
All right. So I'm not as down on this, but yeah.
I agree with Will, actually. Like, I don't like the idea of AI making games. I like the idea of people making games and art. This really set off my biases there. It felt icky to me. But just to be on the other side, if you go on Twitter and look up John Carmack, one of the dudes who made Doom and Quake and everything, he actually thinks it's a cool research demo, not necessarily a gaming demo. He has a big, huge, long tweet explaining why he thinks it's interesting. So for people who want to see the other side of the perspective, you can go read that. I happen to agree with Will, so I can't summarize it.
Well, but also, real quick, are they coming out and saying, "Hey, look, we don't need people anymore. We can make games with AI"?
So they specifically, the use case in the big long research paper that they shared with this specifically said, we think that this is a valid tool for prototyping games.
Right.
Which if you're making games today, you're an indie studio, you're out there on your own. Part of the process of selling a game to a publisher, to a venture capitalist, or whoever you want to get to give you money to make your game, is to put a small portion of your team making both a vertical corner, which is like an art style vibe check for the game, and then a playable demo that shows the gameplay mechanics and loops of the game. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, as somebody who's done a lot of game pitching in the last 4 or 5 years, if you roll in with what they showed here to literally anyone, including probably Microsoft Games and at Xbox and the folks at Microsoft that make the yes or no's on games decisions, they're not going to take your calls anymore after you give that demo. And to be clear, I'm not anti-AI in games. Like there were a couple of demos at GDC I saw. We talked about one of them on the show before. That demo at the NVIDIA booth that they had with the animation, the AI assisted animation toolkit is incredible. And like when I talk to game developers about that, they're like, "Oh wow, that's incredible. Our animators could make 100 times as many animations in things that like provide demonstrable benefit to games, like make the games better and make the games feel better and play better." And like you can run that. Well, I mean, they're running in the cloud. That's fine. They're running it with data that they own, that there's no questionable copyright access to it. I mean, presumably this is the same because they own Quake and they trained on 7 years of people playing this level. But like that is an undeniable good in terms of things that will make games better, easier to make, more humane for the animators, so they don't have to make 3,000 hit reactions in Call of Duty next year. All of this stuff is good. I just think that this is like everything about this feels disingenuous to me. And somebody on Blue Sky yesterday, when I posted the newsletter, said this feels like the kind of thing that they realized they'd reached a dead end on, and we're like, maybe we can get a positive press hit out of it if we throw it out with this Microsoft 50th crap.
Well, Google took a different approach too, which I thought was interesting because they took it from a prototyping standpoint, where they basically said, okay, here is a scene in a game. And they kind of almost made it like a decision point where they had a person, like a character, and then maybe there's an enemy over to the left or something of that sort. And they basically said, okay, if you have a situation where your character is here, there's enemy A over there, how are players typically going to react? And they did that for some multiple scenarios. And I don't know necessarily that the AI would necessarily react in the same way that a person would, but if you could train the AI to be used in such a function, I could see where that might make sense. Like if you wanted to encourage a player to go left towards some particular goal, but they typically would turn right, you could simply go ahead and try to change the scenery or put obstacles.
Put a bright light on the left.
Put a bright light on the path. Red, yellow paint, whatever it might be, right?
Giant arrows on the ground.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I can see that particular thing, that particular use case being a little bit more useful, but this was not it.
There's a ton of stuff that using generative AI models could like taking, for example, if you want to build better bots for your game, you can take the player movements across a map in Call of Duty, and like it's really trivial to take the data output of any multiplayer game and then generate a heat map to show where people die, where people jump, where people shoot, all of the kind of verbs that we have in games. And then from that, like it would be easy to get 7 person years of data on how people play Call of Duty, right? On a particular Call of Duty level, and then use that data to create believable non-human adversaries.
Absolutely. I mean, Fear, for example, the Fear series, that was the quintessential example of that. I mean, the AI and that was excellent, and it was not only it was good AI, but it was also
they used cover. They used cover.
They would communicate to the player what they were doing and so forth. I mean, I think people would like that. We haven't had a repeat of that either.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's interesting. Just,
You like video, though. I mean, it's video. It's a video demo. It's not a game demo.
That's true.
Sure. Yeah. You can think of it like that.
Everybody
but
loves
also,
interactive
like,
video.
I don't know. Like, the first thing, and somebody even mentioned this, the first thing that I thought of was like Eternal Darkness. I love games like that. What's that term again?
Non-Euclidean geometry.
Yeah. Go look it up. It's in his next.content.town. A really good write-up about that. But like Eternal Darkness, like games that will intentionally mess with you. When I played this just gave me those kind of vibes and was like, oh man, this would like trip me out as a game.
Felt like you're playing Quake 2 in the Quake 2 universe.
Well,
but no, like if you were if you were in Eternal Darkness and you went up to an arcade cabinet and tried to play Quake, but it's not the actual version of Quake that you're playing, but then you step away and it becomes something different. Anyway, I like horror stuff.
I mean, there are a lot of games that use that kind of stuff for, like, Stanley Parable is a classic example, or Superliminal, or
Layers of Fear,
Anti-Cheating Chamber. They're like, there's a ton of incredible games that use that, and the trick with them is that they're incredibly intentional in order to get the desired effect, right? So, like, this feels to me like an infinite number of monkeys in front of an infinite number of video renderers creating something that kind of looks like a video game.
Yeah.
It's not Hamlet.
Which sounds fun.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway,
all right.
Let's move on because we got more Windows to talk about.
We do. We have a lot.
Specifically,
the yelling starts now.
Specifically, we need to sit down and look at every single version of Windows and rank them. Luckily, you've already done that.
We've done that, exactly.
Yeah, there's an article on PCWorld. There's a link in the description to Mark Hockman's ranking of Windows. Actually, let me give the title just so everyone knows. Every Microsoft Windows operating system, ranked.
Yes.
So first off, what made you think of this? Why now?
Oh, we were thinking about what we could do for Microsoft's 50th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
So,
nice.
it was a good opportunity to write the story, which we haven't written before. Other people have taken a shot at it. And they're wrong.
Well, and
there you go. Now you got it.
Well, and how did you come up with your list? To walk me through your thinking of your list?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm
curious. Exactly. So some of this. So when you think about Windows and you think about the various strengths and so forth, so I was coming at it from primarily a user standpoint. So there was I was when I was growing up, I basically hit Windows around the Windows 3.0, 3.1 timeframe because like Windows 1 and 2 were kind of just productivity solutions for business PCs. I was growing up. I was raised on Nintendo and Atari 2600 and so forth, and I sort of intersected the PC era around my high school college timeframe, which was, to date myself, in the 90s basically. Let's put it that way. And for a lot, even then, I mean, like a lot of you who lived in the area, it was an MS-DOS world because MS-DOS played games and really Windows didn't, at least for a while anyways.
Well, even serious software ran in, like, I managed Act for a bunch of small businesses and WordPerfect, and those were all DOS programs.
Those were all DOS programs, exactly. So, So basically, what I tried to do was basically come at this from a user perspective, factor in some of the cultural impacts, factor in things like stability and features, what it introduced, and so forth, and just came up with sort of a ranking of worst to best, starting out with the worst, which in my mind, just because it kind of came and went, at least from my standpoint, without a whole lot of fanfare, was Windows 2.0. And, honestly, some of these operating systems kind of blur together a little bit just because you can split hairs over one of them. I mean, Windows 1, again, so Windows 2.0 I picked first, even though in some sense Windows 2.0 introduced Windows that could basically just, put one on top of the other, which I think honestly was actually a fairly nice feature because Windows 1 allowed just tiled windows, which, you looked at the screens at the time, they didn't allow a whole lot of space. I mean, really, if you could make the argument that even with like Windows 1.0, MS-DOS was a better use of your screen space just because it showed more information rather than trying to subdivide it into boxes or borders. But I put Windows 2.0 just because it was just kind of there. Like I said, I think it kind of got passed over between Windows 1.0 and Windows 3.0, and so that was my worst operating system of Windows right off the bat.
Well, real quick, it looks like there's 14 entries.
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah. So there's 14 entries in your list. Is there any of them that you didn't think would make the cut for?
Well, we
for a
left out
numbered system?
out Windows NT only because I was considering this from a consumer standpoint. Yeah, I was considering this from a consumer standpoint. But Windows NT is sort of the foundation of most modern operating systems and the good operating systems.
Where would you have put it if you did include it?
Well, there's multiple versions, so I thought about just from that standpoint, it kind of complicates things. I don't know. I don't think I could answer that just right off the bat. I would have to sort of think about where it fits in.
For me, it's like 3.0 was definitely a strictly business application. It was fairly limited rollout, but 4 saw fairly wide availability at the time back in the day. It was Windows for serious people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Actually, yeah, NT and all the NT OSs are Windows for serious people.
Well, and also I see 3 and 3.1 as 2 separate entries.
The only reason I did that was because I thought that there was enough there for 2 to break it out. I mean, you could look at some of the service packs for, I don't know, Windows 98 or something of that sort, and I don't really. You could split that hair, subdivide it quite a bit, but I didn't really think it was worth my time.
Or what about Windows 8 and Windows 8.1?
That I thought was also worth splitting out because...
Well, no, it's not split out in the article.
Oh, sorry. It wasn't.
No, I think you specifically said you put all your ire.
That's right. Yeah, sorry. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what. Yes, sorry. I have trauma.
Windows 8 and 8.1, like I hate Windows 8. Like I would probably even put Windows 8 lower than you have on this list if I was making my version of this list.
Oh yeah, maybe
I think that made Windows 8.1 so good as you could boot right to the desktop.
It wasn't really a desktop
And
though.
that's really all that it needed to be working well.
You mean boot into the desktop app? I think.
Yeah,
Brad.
It's not really a desktop.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a desktop, but it wasn't really a desktop.
But at least you could load into it in Windows 8.1.
You
didn't
could skip
have to
all that. Yes, exactly.
Screen.
Right.
For me, the only one of these that I think deserves to be split probably is XP pre SP2 and post SP2.
Fair enough.
Was hey, Microsoft doesn't care about anything, including security, and oh man, we gotta pay attention to security, guys. But yeah, I thought this was look, the important thing about this kind of list is that you care really deeply about it right up until the moment that you press post, and then you never think about it again.
Wait, so you're saying pre-Service Pack 1 and Windows XP post-Service Pack 1?
Yeah, because XP pre-SP2. No, pre-SP2 and post-SP2.
Oh, SP2.
Okay. SP2, for people who aren't very old, Microsoft had serious security problems with the initial run of XP that included some worms that would spread on their own if you had a computer connected to the internet.
Oh, fun.
Just without a router in between it and the outside. And they basically stopped all work on the next version of Windows to go back and fix Windows XP because they had 1 billion infected computers in the world.
Yep.
And it was an all hands. It's there's been books written about it. It's an important moment in Microsoft's history.
That's Microsoft's strategy. I mean, they will come out with something and oops, it sucks. Trying to fix it. I mean, there's a pendulum swing back and forth.
Yeah.
Well, and I also do like the idea of recently we've been talking about Microsoft addressing the handheld market. And wouldn't it be cool if you could just boot into touchable tiles?
Look, don't. The monkey's paw's curling. Adam. Don't say that. Right. I'm surprised you didn't have Windows XP Media Center and tablet editions on here, Mark. Those are classic Microsoft bangers.
What about Windows CE?
Again, absolutely. I mean, from that standpoint, I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily worth a breakout and so forth, but yeah, Media Center was. I mean, it had its impact, absolutely. But I mean, You can go forever on this. I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the fun
Bob?
part.
Sorry.
Well,
Well, Bob's not. You know.
Well, that's why I actually
shell?
think.
Yeah.
So, like you have your ranking,
Sure.
which I bet was fun for you to go through. But sometimes it is more fun to sit down with people and argue about
Sure,
it.
of course.
So
We're here.
why don't we come up with the full nerds
I'm gonna clear my
ranking
calendar.
of Windows?
Let's go.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so and we will be taking some recommendations from
User
the
input.
audience.
Sure.
So to start off the list, let's just take your list.
Sure.
I did break
Which is
out Windows 8.
canonical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Windows 8 and 8.1, also Windows XP pre and post Service Pack 2. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to look at my screen, but let's start there.
Well, let me ask you this: what would you say? Do you agree with my conclusion that Windows 10 ended up being on top?
I would make a real case for Windows 7, I think. Probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I think if Microsoft hadn't landed Windows 7, we'd have a different ecosystem right now in the consumer space. Like I think Windows 7 Vista was such a stinker.
Yes.
Apple was rising at such a high level at that point. They made the Intel switch. They were taking like enormous mobile numbers from the Microsoft side. And I think if Microsoft hadn't actually made good on the promise of Vista, delivered a new UI and new experience that felt fresh and was poised to serve the future for the next 20 years, I think we'd have a very different Microsoft now. So I think 7 would be higher on my list. I don't know it'd be number 1.
Fair enough.
And I think, I think 10 is you can't argue with 10 either.
No, I mean, there's a school of thought that the last one is always best. I mean, when you have a starting quarterback when you have a starting quarterback in, you always wonder is the real one sitting on the bench? But I mean, but I mean, I don't know if we're gonna ever see a day that people are pining for Windows 11, but maybe there will be.
Windows 11, you have as the third best right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would drop that all the way back down off of your list behind Windows 98.
Yeah. Well, first, real quick. Do we agree that Windows 10 is number 1?
Of course we do.
It's divisive, but I'm fine with that. I think it is the best operating system they have released.
But like which Windows 10? Like Windows 10 today or after they've co-piloted it up?
Yeah.
Or like Windows 10 when it launched and was kind of crappy?
Right. Well, that's the point.
That's in our memories and hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean,
right
that's I think like the point where like that I made with Windows 11 is that with Windows 10 and Windows 11, I mean, A to B is quite a journey.
Yeah.
I mean, with Windows 11, when you started out with essentially Windows 10X, and now it's like supposedly the AI operating system of the future, which
Well,
yeah.
and like I really like the version of Windows 11 that I run. Like I've stripped out a lot of the Microsoft crap, and it's real good and it feels fast and good. But if I had to use Windows 11 as it ships, I would be a Linux guy by now.
Oh, aren't you already?
I mean,
It's
I'm
the year of
working on
Linux,
it. Year of Linux.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So maybe we should do it this way. What belongs at the top, and then we can argue about order. So we think Windows 10 belongs at the top.
I think
Windows
95,
7.
Windows 7. I would put Windows 2000 pretty high on that list.
someone else was really was
95.
down on me for not putting 2000 higher.
Windows 2000.
Windows 2000.
What about XP? There's a lot of love for XP.
I was going to say XP, yeah.
I'd put post SP2 XP.
Post. Okay.
Yes.
I did
That's
a
the
lot
answer.
of look. We got a lot of magazine business on pre SP2 XP. It made a lot of money for a future.
Yeah,
back
that's
in the
true.
day.
I bet you did.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the top 5 right now: Windows 10, 7, 95, 2000, and XP post Service Pack 2. Does anyone argue that?
I like those. I don't hate. I don't hate 11.
Brad?
Really?
Brad does.
No, that works for me.
I wouldn't put
Which is
11
number 1?
above any of these.
Above what?
Yeah.
And Windows 10, 7, 95, 2000, and XP post Service Pack 2.
You guys really like Windows 7, huh?
Windows 11 to me hasn't really done anything. Like going through this list, reading this list that Mark made, I'm like, oh yeah, sweet, Windows 98. I forgot that's when Windows Update came out. That's when,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think
You know,
Windows 7 was that.
Windows
important.
11's like, hey, it advertises you all the time now, and the start menu's in a different place. Like, what major things has Windows 11 brought to the table? That's the reason I would set it behind
Copilot. You got Copilot.
The new start menu.
New Notepad. The new Notepad.
Okay, well-
new Notepad and Terminal both pretty dope.
Well, I guess, Brad, where would you put Windows 11 then? Like towards the bottom, in the middle? Like just roughly?
Middle. Like on Mark's original list, I would put it behind Windows 98.
Okay.
I can get behind that.
So middle. I'm just gonna start placing these just willy nilly. Windows 11. Okay. So you're saying Windows 98 would go above that?
I thought Windows 98 was good back in the day. I was pleased with Windows 98.
98 was
I mean,
good.
it did the thing. It did. I mean, it did the thing.
It was Windows Update, big deal.
Okay,
Poor Mark comes on the show, and we're just going to dismantle his article.
You know what you need to do is you need to come up with this, like, you need to use AI and you need to vibe code an application that allows people to go ahead and rearrange and create their own list and rearrange.
Wait, isn't this the thing, the tier rankings? There's a tier ranking app where the kids do this.
Yeah, the S tier.
You're right. You're right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
you can say whatever you want. You're all wrong.
What's worse than Windows 8? Is there anything worse than Windows 8? Not 8.1. That's separate. I do think that's going to be higher.
8?
I think Windows 8
worse
is
than
the
Windows 8.
bottom of the barrel for Windows. Well, no, Vista is worse than Windows 8.
Yes.
So you would put Vista at the bottom.
I think Vista.
Okay.
Vista almost destroyed Microsoft. It was a close thing.
Okay. Windows. Brad, what do you think? Is 8 better than Vista?
I think 8 was better than. I think Vista was better than 8, but I'm fine with.
Oh, you think Vista was better than 8?
Look, I think
I didn't see the thing is they had all the UAC stuff. There's a bunch of other stuff, but for most people, it was the UAC constant stuff.
That's all it was.
So once you get
Exactly.
your computer set up right, it wasn't that bad.
Thank you.
The problem you guys had is you had nice computers then, and Brad maybe not. I don't know.
I didn't.
The difference between Vista running on a nice computer at the time and running on like the min spec machine, which was a 915 or something crazy, was that one was really good and felt like Windows XP but slightly shinier, and the other one was unusable.
I don't remember I don't really remember the performance aspect.
I do remember the performance aspect.
I mean, I remember UAC,
especially for gaming too. It was like the overhead.
I can't. I'd have to go back and check.
My mom bought a cheap Dell to replace her desktop computer when Vista came out. And I remember going home and using it and being like, oh my God, I cannot believe they shipped this thing. It is so bad. And I had to do significant upgrades.
All right. Well, really low on your list is ME, and it sounds like there's
ME's
some
a
people in the
stinker.
chat saying so. But is ME worse than Windows 8 or Vista?
Did ME matter at all?
are.
Did it have any impact whatsoever?
Me? Not really. It was only ever for a year, right?
Yeah, and like it was just a hey, we have to ship something this year.
Yeah.
So it's not offensive. It's just not good.
It's blunt. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking too much.
Brad?
No, I think
I didn't like
to me, I would probably put Windows 2 and then Windows ME after Vista and 8.
You mean below?
Millennium Edition was fine, like lower. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
better.
the old Windows, the pre-Windows 3.1 Windows were like.
Should we just put
before my time?
Actually, should we just conglom those all together?
Old Windows?
Yeah.
I mean, arguably, you could say Windows 11 number 1, old Windows number 2. We're done. Perfect.
No. No, I mean, like, is in last place just everything pre-Windows 3?
I'm fine with that. I think it would save a lot of.
Actually, you're right.
I don't think anybody
really remember all that.
I didn't
anymore.
I don't know that I've ever run Windows 2 or
I never did.
1 as anything other than I want to see what this looks like in an emulator.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I like one of my first jobs was maintaining Windows 3.1 machines when I was in high school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Windows 3.1 was the
And
one I used.
3.0.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a
so
mixture
we'll
usually.
just put everything pre-Windows 3.1 as the lowest spot.
It was
Because essentially that's yours.
look, if you want a bad Mac, they had Windows when Microsoft had you.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Lisa and the Macs were out that neck of the woods, and
I
those,
like
those
this.
were better.
I like
I
this.
mean,
But we can at least
Easier
say
to use, at least.
8.1 was better than 8.
8.1 was better than 8.
Yeah.
I mean, is having
It's a step up.
tuberculosis
That's about
better than having measles? Probably. I don't know.
I mean, Brad was right. It's just the ability to boot to something that was quasi desktop was an improvement, but it wasn't a great one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need to bust out 8.1? Am I wrong about that? Should we not bust out 8.1?
I don't care.
I'd just rather not talk about. I would rather talk about Windows 8 as little as possible.
Okay.
Like Mark said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
What
not a
Brad
boom.
said.
Okay, well then Windows 3. So we got in last place everything pre-Windows 3. Is Windows 3 better than Vista?
3.0
Or
or 3.1? Or are you just saying?
Oh,
three in
yeah, because
general?
you broke
I
them
broke
out.
it out. Yeah, there's a lot in both. I mean, there's a lot in both of them.
Okay, but just 3.0 then. Let's start there. Is Windows 3.1 Windows 3.0 better or worse than Vista and 8?
I think everything on the list that remains is better than Vista and 8.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I think
I agree.
it's hard to
I haven't used
overemphasize
3.0 or 3.1 very much, but I agree.
So, like, the problem with Windows 3 and 3.1 is that when I was starting out with computers, I had to maintain all these computers in this office, and it took me a long time to realize that 3.0 and 3.1 were different operating systems. I was like, why do some of these have this program and some of them don't? Why does this one not have the hot dog theme that everybody loves?
Okay. All right. So, but it's okay. So let's get to another one.
I mean, 3.0. I mean, first of all, we're talking about Solitaire and Minesweeper too.
That's
mean,
true.
That's the
Ski free on 3.1 as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, those are big deals.
And what about 386 enhanced mode, where you could run the software emulated floating point?
That's it.
So you could play Doom in a postage stamp size window on a 386 SX. Ask me how I know about that.
Okay. Well, what about Windows 95? We don't have this on the list. Is it better or worse than Windows 3.1?
It's right there. It's the top of the list. It's
you're right. It is. No. Okay. Oh, and I did put 98. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
95.
95 just culturally was a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I think 95 is huge.
Johnny
95.
Carson talked about, or Jay Leno talked about Windows 95.
So we got 10. We got 11. XP pre and post. We got 7. Vista 98.
XP
2000.
pre SB2 has got to go way down. It can't be number 6.
So okay. So is pre SB is pre SB2 worse than Windows 11?
Windows XP Ultimate Virus
Yes.
Edition is way down
Yes,
the
it's worse
list.
than Windows 11.
Is it worse than Windows 3?
I think it's above Windows 8, but maybe it's close. I don't know.
Like, is Windows 8 worse than pre-Service Pack 2? Windows XP pre-Service Pack 2?
Look,
Just put one on them. They're both
Okay,
bad. Put them
okay.
next to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. Okay.
this is why the tier lists are easier than the ordered list.
It's true.
Yeah. Now I get why they exist.
Yeah,
these
I
are
do like
all
tier
F
lists.
tier.
Okay.
We're in the
Yeah,
Fs
yeah,
here.
yeah.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter which
so-
one's worse
Okay.
than the
Okay.
next.
All right. So
People
okay.
are screaming in chat,
So
I'm sure.
2.0 ME and 1.0 are all pre 3.1. Okay. So I think we have the list.
So you have 16 things on your list. and
Yeah,
there's
but we
15 on the other one.
congealed
Oh, okay.
everything pre Windows 3, and also I took off.
You don't have ME on here.
Do not know. Okay, so where does ME then go then?
ME just existed. It's
It's a D.
Oh,
it's not
Wasn't
great.
it? Wasn't ME pre
No.
3.0? No.
ME was between 98 and XP.
Yep.
Oh.
Millennium Edition.
Oh.
It's for all your
but it's just
millennials.
it's just meh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So
yeah,
I'll put it under
Windows
Vista.
Meh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Windows
Yeah.
meh.
I mean, it was-
okay. So I think that's everything. Okay.
It
so
got rid of DOS, right? That was its claim to fame. No DOS running under Windows
Right.
ME.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it had. Yeah. I mean, it did. It's the Windows Media Player and Windows DVD Player. I mean, it sort of was like multimedia.
And what
Windows.
did IE shipped with Windows 95, but it was like OSR2 or something, right? That was the beginning of the antitrust problems.
I don't remember that. I don't know. I mean, you're probably right. I just don't remember how the timing of it.
Okay. Well, I'm posting this in our full nerd chat so you can see it.
You need
but
to do like a little TikTok where you just basically run down the list for people.
I know, right? Okay.
we
so,
are not including NT or CE.
No.
Yeah,
C,
or Windows
C
Mobile.
didn't run on
Yeah.
PCs.
Yeah.
NT,
Yeah.
like if I were putting NT on this list, it would be like below 98 and or above 98 and below XP SP2 maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it provided stability. That's what.
All right.
Yeah.
well,
that's
let's look
for
at
me,
the
that's
list
what
as it is now and see if there's anything else we need to
Star
argue
Screamius, I
about.
assure you
Okay.
I'm not confusing ME with NT.
All right,
Thank
so at number 1 is Windows 10 currently. Number 2 is Windows 7. Number 3 is Windows 95. Number 4 is 2000. Number 5 is XP Post Service Pack 2. Number 6 is 98. Number 7 is 11. Number 8, 3.1, 9, 3, 10 XP Pre SP2, 11, 8, 12 Vista, 13 ME, 14 everything pre 3.0.
I think Windows 7 got wrecked kind of there.
Windows
I think
2000 is
Windows
way too
7
high.
is way
Yeah, I would
higher
put
up.
95 above 7 for sure.
Really?
Yeah, without Windows 95, we'd be all running OS2 Warp right now.
Yeah.
Wait, you're backing that up too?
Yeah, to me, it's the top four. It's hard to split hairs between the four of them. To me, should be Windows 10, Windows 95, Windows XP, Windows 7.
Yeah, I could get.
What
behind
about
that.
so 2000 is at 4 right now,
I think-
above XP post Service Pack 2.
I'd put XP higher.
Just
than
looking
2000.
at Windows 2000, I hadn't remembered it, but it got hit by Code Red and NIMDA. I mean, it was attacked like
It had-
crazy because it got leaked. The source code got leaked to the internet.
It
so-
had the same problems XP had at the same time, but it also brought DirectX to Windows NT. That was the big deal. Like I think they had a weird version of DirectX 3, but no 3D on NT4.
That might be right. Yeah.
And 2000 gave you the ability to run multiple CPUs on a consumer machine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Windows 2000 didn't have a huge amount of consumer impact. I mean, it was a stable. It was a stable operating system for business users, or enthusiasts, I guess. But yeah, so for me, that's a sign.
Okay, so right now, Windows 10, 95, 7, XP post Service Pack 2, then 2000.
I think I'd flip 98 and 11 as well.
So you think 11 is better than Windows 98?
I think 11 is better than Windows 98. More
Brad,
impactful.
what do you think?
Oh, I disagree with that, but I'm fine with it. This would be
yours-
better in the
You had Windows 11 higher than 98.
I did.
Yeah, so okay, I can get behind that.
it's the same thing I argue every year at the Best Hardware Awards. Like, what's new? What's exciting about this?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really think
11
Windows
doesn't
98
bring
is
any of
that. But it did, DVD-ROMs. I mean, it
Windows
just didn't
Update, man.
yeah, I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of the things it's known for. It's probably the best thing.
Well, right now, Windows 98 is just in front of Windows 3.1. Is Windows 98 better than 3.1?
Boy,
3.1 is much more meaningful than 98.
I mean, I'd agree with that.
Brad? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, if
3.1
Windows
was-
11
yeah.
had the hot dog theme, it'd be number 3 probably.
Okay. So is
Correct.
Windows 98 better or worse than Windows 3.0?
You're worse than Windows 3.0.
Wow. Am I?
I don't know. I think Windows 98 is better than Windows 3.0.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have deep opinions on this.
Okay.
Don't gotta look at me.
I used both of those. I didn't.
So next down is XP pre SP1, 8, Vista ME pre. So essentially we're saying like Windows XP pre SP2 and all that
Non-functional
below.
Windows.
All that is
and then
just junk.
and then Windows
Okay.
8 is worse than the one that didn't work at all.
So Windows 3 was like the first real good one. Because everything below that was just
Yeah, Windows 3 was
if
good.
I was,
I mean, it brought it into the modern. It was. Yeah. It was,
Willis has
Yeah,
got
Windows 3
something.
Can you update the list so I can throw it on as a slide for,
Oh,
for
yeah,
viewers?
yeah.
They want
Okay.
to see it.
Yeah, sorry.
so
Thank you.
I
mean,
think
it's not final yet, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything that's wrong about this is Adam's fault.
Yes.
yeah, that's always the case.
Yeah. So wait till it's final, and I'll throw it up on the screen for.
Wait till
viewers.
it's final. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think like if I were tier ranking this, I think Windows 10 and Windows 95 S tier, XP SP2, Windows 7 A tier, Windows 11 and 2000 B and 3.1 probably B tier, maybe even 98 B tier, and then C, D, and F for the rest. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, looking at this list now, Brad, I don't know if you can see it in Slack, but are we? Do we like this? Any other tweaks we
I
want
like
to
that
make?
you aim it at the screen as if Brad can see
No,
it.
because he's not in our Slack. So
Yeah. I can look at Slack if you want.
I mean, I put mine out there. That's fine.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do. That's
okay.
no problem.
No, we can argue about it. You know, yeah, that's what we're here to argue. You know.
Oh, Brad's got
Yeah, I'm
thoughts.
fine with that list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Will with the S and A tier rankings, though. Like what you were saying, to me, the top four especially.
Yeah.
Like-
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do that at a later date. But all right,
it'd be fun.
let's lock it in, Willis. Work on
Working on it.
on getting the
Once you
graphical
post that,
representation.
it's final. There's no changing.
Yeah, I know, right? No, well, now I'm scared.
Yeah, people are going to yell at you
Yeah. People are going to be like, where's my NT? Wait, why did we not put NT on there? Sorry.
because Mark hates MT. Is my
No, it's just
understanding.
not really a consumer operating system for me. It was just something that was there. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, I put it as an honorable mention, but I mean, I didn't. I don't.
okay.
I mean, I didn't. I'm not going to buy. Windows
Also-
NT. I was going to buy.
Man, I bought
95.
NT4 the moment it was out. I was
Okay,
like, oh, yeah,
well.
let's go.
Who's this? J.R. Richardson, friend of the show, said Vista above 11. Well, I can't get behind that.
We didn't put Vista above 11.
No, I think they're recommending. They're saying
That's
they would put
madness.
Vista above 11.
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't think
Madness.
11's not that bad.
Look, I'd put
No,
Longhorn
you can get
above
by
11.
with 11.
Now, it is weird that we put Windows 2000 on here, which is essentially NT5, and we don't
Yeah.
have NT4 or NT351.
Yeah, but at least was marketed to the general public. I mean, NT.
That's true.
Yeah.
You could buy that. I guess by that point, you could call Gateway or Dell and get a computer with 2000 on it. You could probably get NT4 from Dell.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I owned a Windows 2000 PC at some point in time because I remember using it. I just don't remember what it was.
All
Wow.
right.
I tell you,
So that's final. That list. I'm going to show it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Lock it
Let's
in.
Bring it up. Lock
Okay.
it in.
All right, coming
We're gonna go backwards. So at worst, last place, the worst Windows operating systems are everything pre 3.1 or 3.0. So that's 2, 1, and what was the other? ME. Those are just we're just lumping them together because they're junk. Nobody likes them. Oh no, ME is the next one up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, ME is after.
Yeah.
Right.
So ME is just better than that.
That's the Millennium Edition.
Yes.
At number 12 is Windows Vista.
Yeah, it's a real stinker.
stinker. Above that is Windows 8. Yeah. Okay.
Also a
yeah.
real stinker.
Hey, I
it's
feel like
bad.
8.1
Nah, it was
got
not
a little
great.
better.
Hey, let's
You know,
let's
not really.
redesign our entire UI to support 1/10% of the market of Windows machines.
Maybe
Perfect. Great choice.
it was an operating system just too early. You know.
No.
Maybe handhelds are where it really shines.
When I started blogging for Maximum PC way too long ago, I actually had a Windows Vista laptop at the time.
Oh,
This
I'm
was
so
like
sorry.
2012 or something like that. And so my editor at the time's like, "Man, you're a freelancer. I can't tell you what to do, but I will assign you a bunch of Windows 7 articles and get you a bunch of money to afford yourself a better laptop than what you got right now."
Nice.
All right. Well, to continue on at number 10, we have Windows XP pre-Service Pack 2. So all of that. So 10, 11, 12, and 13 and 14. Those are all what we consider F tier. Just the worst. Don't use them. Don't use them right now. And
If
then
you're running Windows 2.0 right now,
Yeah.
actually, maybe
you're
you
a
should.
baller. I'm
Okay,
impressed.
cool.
Like, so please write in.
All right. Well, let's keep going up. This is where we start some real Windows. Number 9, Windows 3.0.
Yeah, it was fine.
Number 8, Windows 98. Number 7, Windows 3.1. Number 6, Windows 11. Number 5, Windows 2000.
Can't believe we didn't talk about Bob.
Number 4, Windows XP post Service Pack 2.
What a comeback.
What a comeback.
Yeah.
Man, it jumped all the way from 10 to 4. Look at that.
I mean,
just by a service pack. Love it. Number 3, so the top 3, number 3 is Windows 7. Number 2, Windows 95. Number 1, with a bullet, Windows 10. Look at that. Look at that. That's the.
are we talking about 1023H2 here? Is
Yeah, I
that where
don't
we're
know,
at?
but who knows?
24H2. Which one are we on?
I mean, listen. This is definitive. This is going down in the history books as the Full Nerds listing of best ranking of Windows operating systems. And look, we did it in less than 2 episodes. So take that, Tech Pod.
Look,
Tech Pod people taking
just
way
because
too
you
long.
didn't give all these Windows as their due. Look, I could talk for 30 minutes about why I feel like Windows 98 is really strong.
Also, friend of the show, Robert Lawrence says, send this tier list to Microsoft. We should, we should
Absolutely.
just tell them this is what we think.
Yep.
And yeah, cool.
Put it on a plaque.
I like it. I like it.
Yep.
Thank you. Not only for writing your original article, but then arguing with us about our article and being a part of it.
It was nice of you to give us a reason to yell at each other.
Yeah,
That's
Actually,
it.
you know what though? I am curious what Gordon would have thought of this list.
he would have yelled at all of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he just
Yeah.
would have hated it all.
Pretty
right?
much.
Is that
But
what you're
if
saying?
he had to choose one, which
Yeah,
one do you guys think?
he probably would have
He
agreed
would've-
with 10.
No,
What's that?
he would have.
You don't
picked
think 10?
something- He would have picked something that made everybody really angry.
3.1.
I mean, he wouldn't have
3.0.
said he wouldn't have said Vista or 8.
He probably would have said 7. He had a real fondness for 7.
Okay, but it's in the top 3, so I
Yeah.
can see that. Okay, yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah, I know he had a sealed copy of Windows Vista.
He had a sealed,
Oh.
in the curved plastic package.
Oh
with
yeah,
the Ultimate.
that was a
Yeah.
cool package. I mean, if we're gonna factor in packages, that would bump Windows Vista up for me.
I remember.
Because that is a cool package.
They pushed when that came out. They were pushing so hard that they sent boxes of Windows to every magazine at Future. Like they just sent a big
box of Windows keys.
Yeah, they just sent them. Not even keys.
Like Costco?
like the thing. And we were like, What are we gonna do with?
Oh, is that why Gordon had a ton?
So we
then?
went like one day I went out to the free stuff table in the entry like magazine. Often there's a free stuff table with all the crap that people get that they don't want.
Right.
And you're like, there were like 30 copies of Windows there, and I was like, what the hell happened? This is brand new. Nobody wants this.
I believe what I usually do is I wrote it, and then if I remember correctly, I did just ask AI what it thought, and I don't remember. I forgot to just bring a copy of the list there on my computer at home, but I believe it was Claude said Windows 95, picked Windows 95. Google Gemini Deep Research picked Windows 11. Google Gemini pretty much almost did it just like by almost chronologically. I don't know why. I think they just I guess it just kind of believed that newer iterations were better than the old ones. I mean, that was generally speaking the way it did. I can't remember what Copilot came up with. I think it's.
I'm asking Copilot right now.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see live on the air.
Yeah.
I asked, what is the best version of the Windows operating system? Oh, they picked Windows 7.
Windows 7.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I remembered as too. Yeah, Windows 7.
And then Windows 10.
I'm not sure why I picked 7.
Close to ours. And then Windows 11 is third.
Yeah.
So it told me that Windows 11 is the latest and greatest with a sleek design and features like snap layoffs for multitasking.
Hold on.
But if you're nostalgic, Windows 8 XP
Hold
or 7
on.
might hold a special place
My
in your
question
heart.
was, what is the best version of the Windows operating system? What was your question?
What's the best version of Windows?
Comma,
you AI, and then there's some expletives.
Oh, so you insulted it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Okay,
you got to establish dominance.
Wait, I thought
Right.
No. I thought you said you wanted to be on their side when
I don't
they
want to
take
be on
over.
Microsoft's side in the AI robot wars. I want to be on whoever's going to win.
Okay. That's pretty funny. Well, hey, okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway,
Funny you get different answers out of that, though.
Anyway, that is pretty funny.
Non-deterministic lying computers. Who knew?
Okay. All right. Well, we need to move on. That was fun. We need to move on and get to questions and
Q&A.
Answers.
Right.
Before we do that, though, I do need to stop for a moment and thank our sponsor, NVIDIA GeForce.
Thanks, our sponsor.
Since the last time we had the sponsor shout out, whatever, I actually have played that RTX remix.
Yeah.
Have you played RTX remix?
Yeah.
Did
I have
you?
not.
Did you,
No,
Brad? Did
I
you
should.
try that?
I haven't yet. No, I was traveling.
Had you ever played Half-Life 2 before?
Yes.
Okay.
And Half-Life 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I've actually have been recently playing Half-Life 2 on my Steam Deck because they updated it. What was it, like 6 months ago?
Yeah, to have better gamepad controls.
Yeah.
Gamepad controls, and then I think they added some more like dev commentary. Anyway, it's still a great game, but the RTX remix version adds a lot of like new features, right?
Like
and
what?
Ray tracing.
Oh, okay.
They replace a lot of the smoke with volumetric smoke. They do point lights, like upgrades to textures.
Yeah. So the game isn't changed. This is a mod.
Right.
RTX Remix is mod tools to be able to go in and
Have you played Black Mesa?
remix. I've not played Black Mesa. I've wanted to.
I played all of Black Mesa.
Yeah.
It's quite good.
But
it's different.
Yeah, because that's not a mod.
No, it's like a.
Like, I think they
game,
completely
It's
remade it
on
right?
Steam. It's a separate game. They moved the Source 1 game to the Source 2 engine, and then redid a bunch of assets and reused a bunch of Half-Life 2 assets in Black Mesa, is my understanding. But that was also like a 10-year project.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were working on it for a while. No, this is a mod. It's free if you own Half-Life 2. You can just get it for free on Steam. Just go check it out. I'm sure a lot of people here have checked it out. And one of the things that so I did do a video. You can go check it out over on PCWorld. And I had one of the NVIDIA reps kind of walk me through not just the demo, because you could just go play the demo,
Right.
but you can bring up the developer panel and disable options, try out different things.
That's cool.
And I'm not talking about just graphical options like, oh, turn on DLSS or not. You could turn on the volumetric fog. You could turn on different kinds of GI, global illumination, all that kind of stuff. So it was actually kind of fun to poke around in there. And as somebody who wouldn't be comfortable messing with any of that myself, it was nice to have a professional kind of walk through those menu options.
But it's nice because it lets you see, like, you often, especially in video card stuff, you often see a lot of lingo that maybe is difficult to put to the actual thing you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah, that's true.
And this lets you pause the game essentially and get right up on it and see things turned on and off, so you can see like what subsurface scattering means in terms of like light behind somebody's ears or skin, light bouncing off of skin and bouncing internally and all that.
And it was fun to see something old, but in a new way, right? There's a lot of ways that it can be done that. I mean, there's remasters, there's remakes, all that kind of stuff. But these are I think they said it was like a team of 150 modders who absolutely love this game, and they were just sitting and thinking, okay, what do we think the devs thought it would have looked like at the time, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of care and love got put into it. And honestly, I am curious to see what other developer or other modders can do with RTX Remix, because this is not the only thing out there. This is RTX Remix is not new, but it just came out as a 1.0 release or whatever. So
came out around the time that the Minecraft visual update came out, because that's been something that they promised for a long time too, and now it's a little bit more if you want to. It's
interesting.
Yeah, it's I forget the exact formal name of it, but yeah, it adds better lighting, HDR, I think, and so forth. I haven't actually played around with it and so forth, but yeah, they've been promising that for a couple of years now.
Yeah, interesting indeed. If you want to go check out the Half-Life 2 RTX Remix demo, it's just 2 areas right now. Yep. Go get it on Steam. It's free. If you're a modder or somebody who wants to mess around with mod tools, go check out the link in the description for RTX Remix and start messing around with old games.
It works with all fixed function games up to like DirectX 9.0. I can't remember which point where it's. I think C is the cutoff where it doesn't work exactly anymore. So before that, you can like just open up the game and start changing textures and stuff, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, Maybe we'll see Duke Nukem 3D in actual 3D, maybe with RTX Remix, and and you get all that ray tracing.
Too far back.
Too old?
Far back.
Dang it. Okay, well, get on it, NVIDIA, and thank you for sponsoring this episode. All right, so now let's get over to the Q&A. If you have a question that you would like to ask us right now when you're live in the chat, just go ahead, put it in the chat at the Full Nerd Podcast. It's easier for us to see it. But if you're watching or listening to this later, hit the link in the description to go over to our Discord. We have a channel over there called Full Nerd Questions, and you can put in a question in there, and hopefully we'll read it on an episode.
There we go.
Now, we do have some questions that were not answered from last week that Willis kindly provided. So let's go through these real quick. From friend of the show, Sneaky Supreme. Which PC World writer has the oldest PC for work purposes?
Oh, for work purposes.
My guess is probably it was Gordon.
Probably.
For work laptop?
Yeah. Well, he had that 8th gen Intel laptop, but then his desktop was that...
was it like Broadwell E or something?
Yeah, Broadwell E.
That he used?
Wow.
Yeah, he used it until we built him a new one to do some videos at home. But yeah, that was...
I mean, I have an Opteron desktop sitting at home that I haven't used in ages, but it functions.
Not using those.
Yeah.
Like daily.
Yeah, I don't
like
use
it. Or within work hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Well, what is the oldest one that you actively use?
Oh, I go honestly. It's everything is pretty much brand new. Because I just laptops get shuttled through, especially with for dock testing and stuff like that. So yeah,
True.
it's pretty new.
Okay. Well, Brad, you know everybody on staff. What is your guess?
Gordon by far.
Okay.
Yeah. He probably had a setup that he had just tuned just perfectly, and then they liked it.
Yeah.
We get work laptops, so I mean, like, a lot of us use our desktops for some stuff, but our laptops are all fairly modern.
Yeah.
Everybody here seems to really love their IT issued laptops.
Yes.
Like
love
big fans
IT issued
across the
laptop.
board.
Love it.
I said they were new. I didn't say they were good.
Yeah. All right. Good one. Friend of the show, Ruchu asks, what are some memorable April Fool's jokes / pranks at the PC World office? I'm going to extend this back further because I actually don't feel like there was too many pranks in the PC World office.
I always assumed this was a very
I've worked
serious
here.
business place, like a place for serious computer people, not for weird nerds.
I've heard that this is definitely a stuffier environment.
People wear
than
short
some
sleeve
other
shirts
places.
with ties, is my understanding.
I mean, I always enjoyed April Fools, but yeah, we didn't really do any of that stuff. I mean, which is kind of, I don't know. I mean, as John pointed out not too long ago, I mean, now we live in an age of disinformation where April Fools has been pretty much wiped off the board. I mean, it was a lot more fun a few years back, but, no, nobody played any. I mean, we published a fake article or two at some point, but I can't really remember anything that we did in the office in person.
Yeah, I can't either. Brad, you got anything?
I don't work in the office, man.
Well, but you know, maybe digitally. I can't remember. I don't feel like people really prank each other on it. We're all pretty nice to each
No,
other.
we used to do the roundups that all the companies would do, but now they're all just kind of weird. So we don't do them.
Yeah.
They stopped being funny.
My
Like
personal April Fool's prank is if you take a lifesaver and you unscrew a shower head and you put the lifesaver in it and you screw it back on. The water comes out clear, but then when the people get out, they're all sticky and nasty and covered in
that's
lifesaver.
horrible.
Oh, that is horrible.
That's awful.
That's
Do that
just
to your
rude, but
parents, kids.
that's a good idea.
Well, you guys have to eat your predictions. That's about as close as you get to an April Fool's
True,
joke.
yeah.
We used to have Vaseline doorknobs.
What? Why?
Because then you can't turn it.
But then you can't.
I don't care. It's funny.
What?
At my doorknob.
In case of an emergency, what happens? Oh my
Just a
goodness.
window,
Oh, watch
probably.
it burn. That's okay.
Yeah, Vaseline doesn't burn. It'll be
As
fine.
as one of the
Oh.
fire wardens on this floor, I would strongly advise
we have
nobody to
like
do that.
flippy handles,
Oh,
so
you're
it
right.
doesn't
We
work
got
on
it.
this.
We
It's
got
only
hand
on
handle.
spinny
Yeah.
knobs. That,
Oh, that's hilarious. At a previous job, this wasn't an April Fool's prank. This is just something I did weekly. I would get people to click on Rebecca Black's music video of Friday. Oh God! So every Friday, I would find a new way to get somebody to click on the
not
link to just
okay.
start playing that song.
I will say the one thing I did to my kids is when we first had Google Assistant coming out, we had a Google speaker, and you could make, if you use the Google Home app, you could make, I think you could actually make, you could type in what you wanted to, and Google would actually say it in that voice. So my kids were young, and they really hadn't used Google Speaker before, so I was doing stuff like I would in the other room and say, now, self-destruction sequence initiated 5, 4, and then you'd scream to the other room. I mean, just stuff like that. It's just messing around with them, that kind of stuff. That was fun. Yeah, but that was not the office stuff.
one of my favorite things to do in people's houses when you go and you see that they have a Google speakers around is you tell Google to set a repeating event for every Saturday night at 8:59, and you tell it to play Piano Man by Billy Joel. So then when he gets to the part where it's 9:00 on a Saturday, it's 9:00 on a Saturday.
Oh, nice.
And people can't figure out how to turn it off. So it's a
Yikes.
victimless crime, except for the
Yikes.
people's house. I think it's fun,
Yeah.
personally.
Friend of the show, VC Jester says, confession time. Adam told me that if I wanted to wind up Gordon to argue that Alien was better than Aliens, which there's no argument,
yeah.
but it's just the truth. So Adam is behind that argument. Yeah. Okay.
You could also mess with Star Trek too.
Yeah.
That would do
There
it.
you go. Was Gordon not a
So when,
prankster
when
around
we
the
last hired our last rounds of writers, that was actually my icebreaker question for everybody.
Was
Just
that prank?
because,
Oh yeah,
was
Alien
trying
versus
to-
Aliens. Yeah.
yeah, Alien versus Aliens.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's only one right answer. They both are awesome. All right.
You're correct.
Yeah, exactly.
There is only one right answer. Your answer is wrong.
All right, let's get to a couple more questions and then we will get out of here. I'm sorry. It scrolled past. I wasn't able to click on it, but somebody asked if we have made any last minute purchases to dodge tariffs.
from Mark Heinz.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we were actually talking about this with Alex, our other video producer, because he was like, "Oh, hey, I'm thinking of buying." What was he thinking of buying? Upgrading his router.
Yes,
he's
yes,
upgrading
yes.
it to 10 gig because he has fiber at home. He's
Oh,
joining the
man.
club.
Humble brag.
Joining the club. But he's like, okay, well, I had to get a new router, and then he's like, well, crap, my motherboard only has 2.5, so I gotta upgrade that somehow.
That was something
so.
that Gordon would just never shut up about. I mean, man, if you mentioned Ethernet, if you mentioned broadband, it would be like, oh yeah, 10 gigabit or whatever he had, and it's just like, Jesus.
Well,
Forget.
some of us also have 10 gig.
Yeah. Well. Okay, whatever.
Humble brag.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, has anybody bought anything? Have you bought anything?
No, and I feel guilty for not doing it. I was thinking about getting an SSD or something of that sort, just because. Yeah, I mean, I feel at some point in time I'm going to need one, but since I have average person broadband, I don't have no need for an additional router or something of that sort.
Peasant broadband,
Yeah,
sir.
Chud broadband.
But yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm kind of worried about is phone prices, because we have average phones and so forth, and they're eventually going to go. I don't know. I just kind of worry that eventually I don't think they're going to cost. Somebody was saying they're going to cost like $5,000 or something like that. So I mean, I don't see that happening. But yeah, man. I mean, at some point, our phones are going to wear out. My phone right now is the USB-C ports like disintegrating, so I need to have that replaced. But you need a battery. I mean, that's the thing. The phone's perfectly good. The battery's going to wear out at some point in time.
Yeah.
And that's what I need a new one for.
Or they'll stop getting updates.
Yeah,
security
that's
updates.
true. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that too. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm worried about is phones at this point in time.
Good point.
Yeah.
Brad, have you made any last minute purchases?
My tech is pretty good, so I didn't worry about that. But I did go out and buy a bunch of clothes that I was looking to buy for the summer. Unfortunately, not very summer stylings yet. And I learned from last time. I went out and bought a big old thing of toilet paper just in case.
There you go. I like that. Will?
I bought a 50-pound bag of dried beans and a 50-pound bag of rice.
55 burgers.
Really?
55 fries,
Just in
55
case.
shakes.
I'm ready. I figure that's good for a couple of weeks.
What
at
kind of
least.
dried beans?
Red beans.
Red beans.
What are they sealed in? Because you have to
The
worry
canvas bag. I have them hanging in the garage.
Okay, you have to worry about mice or anything of that sort.
Yeah, it's hanging in the garage. It's probably fine.
It's
Gotta
like
watch
a
out for Mighty Mouse.
yeah, it's like a pinata, like a
Yeah, it's like a
pinata.
survival
Just eat the
pinata.
rice.
Look, it was.
You're like, I'm so hungry. Oh.
There was a moment I was looking at one of those mountain house survival bucket things that the preppers all buy. Gordon had some of those, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I was
Gordon
looking
had
at
a lot in his house,
I was
yeah.
looking at those and I was like, man, do I want to buy 50 pounds, like 50 a month buckets with like shrimp scampi dehydrated and stuff in them? I was like,
Yum, yum, yum,
it
yum,
gets down to this. I'm just gonna
So
succumb.
what would a 50-pound bag of rice get you in the new post-tariff economy?
Well, I mean, I have food that I
One
can
So you're
afford.
just gonna be food. You're just gonna
$1 million.
Like, I figure
you're not
you
gonna
could-
trade it for something.
Like vitamins,
Oh.
beans, and rice. You can live for a while.
I guess so.
Yeah, I did this math during the pandemic. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
There you go.
I can't. The thing is, I realize I can't grow enough potatoes in my backyard to live indefinitely. So
Well, I saw the movie The Martian. He figures out a way to do it, right?
he has the full backing of NASA. And
No, he
and
didn't.
this-
He was stuck on Mars.
okay, but like he's an astronaut. He's a smart guy. I'm not a biologist.
We don't have potato soil in California. It's all
Yeah,
hard.
no.
mud.
Well, not on Mars
It's-
I
either.
can grow a lot of lemons, but it turns out nobody wants to go to a lemon party.
Good fertilization.
Oh man.
God damn you! All right, Willis.
Beep.
Yeah, Willis. What have you bought? I know you like to buy things,
Do I?
especially on the cheap.
I
so.
always tell myself I'm a frugal Asian, so I try not to buy much. So I'm hunkering down right now. I really didn't buy a whole lot, but for work, I actually am glad we bought some production stuff before
We did
the tariff hit.
Yeah,
So
we bought
like
a really new bag for Computex.
new bag and some
Nice.
and lights. So yeah,
Yeah.
good for that.
Have you gotten the new mixer yet?
No, I should
boy.
do that.
Yeah,
Are
you
you
should
going
probably
to-
do that today.
Willis, are you going shopping at Computex?
I guess so. Yeah, if Tara had said that, I might as well.
I
get it in
am,
Taiwan.
yeah.
Anything you buy while you're in Taiwan, you got to scuff up real good so it doesn't look like you bought it while I was there. No, it's production. I brought it with me.
Yeah,
from the US.
yeah.
What did we say last time on
Always be testing.
on the
That's
episode?
what we
It was
always
like
say.
under $800 was like then you don't have to declare anything.
Oh,
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, or you could just not declare. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just
I don't know
look.
about that.
Like a
Adam,
rebel.
Yeah,
Adam, you're going to really do great in Guantanamo.
yeah, exactly. I will always adhere to the law.
Yeah.
I wish. Yeah, we've been on the edge of buying a new car for a while, and I would really like to buy a new car, but
do
we're not quite there yet, and I don't want to bite the bullet too early. So
Yeah, no, it's better to pay 20 or 40% more in
Yeah.
6 months.
I don't know.
I have a 25-year-old car.
Yeah, that sucks. All right. Friend of the show, VC Jester asks, WTF does meta mean? Or am I too old to understand this?
Meta.
Meta means outside the context that you're operating in. So, like if you're talking about a metagame progression in a game, the progression in the game is you going from the start to the finish of the game, and the meta progression is stuff that happens outside that. Like for example, in Call of Duty, the meta progression is when the bars go up for your expertise in a gun. That happens in the menus outside the game, but it happens as a result of actions that happen inside the game.
It also refers to a company that sunk billions in
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
pursuit
gonna
say.
of untangible or untenable technologies.
Well, so, yeah, like, did they name it meta because of that?
They named
the
it Meta
company?
because of the metaverse. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And also because Facebook was a toxic brand at the time they renamed the company.
All right.
It's a place where boomers yell at clouds.
Yeah, I like it.
You like Facebook or yelling at clouds?
I like
boomer?
yelling at clouds, yeah.
Okay.
Friend of the show, Ivan RS, do you think Windows in ATMs, automatic machines, tellers, whatever, will also run a AI recall feature? If no, can ATM run Crisis? I bet
know
from a
where to
hardware standpoint, I bet it technically could run Crisis.
No, man, they're like little
Dude, I've
little
seen
MIPS processors
Yeah.
in ATMs.
Really?
Yeah.
Even
Baby
nowadays?
computers for babies.
I bet it can run Crisis.
When was the last
it could
time
probably
you used
run
an ATM?
Doom.
I haven't used an ATM in so long. I don't remember when the last time
Probably
I
like
used an
6
ATM
months. It's
was.
been like 6 months. But it was fast. It was snappy. It had to have some sort of hardware in there.
Not that fast.
You play Doom, at least.
I mean, okay.
Most of those 8 Windows ATMs are still running like Windows XP, Windows 7 kind of a deal.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
C,
Right.
or
The ones, airports that you see.
Don't you think they
full
run
screen.
actual like bespoke operating systems?
Windows.
It's a bespoke version of Windows.
Oh,
a
it's
lot of them
Windows. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. I thought it was
or Linux, as the case may be.
oh, it's the year of Linux.
I mean, look,
ATMs.
man, I just pregnancy test run Doom. Everything can run Doom at this point.
Oh, yeah.
That's correct.
Friend of the show, Liquid R asks, with the tariffs looking like it may make getting new PCs and laptops even more difficult for people. That's why you need to head over to PCWorld.com and stay abreast of the latest news. Could you see Microsoft delaying the end of life date of Windows 10 so that those out of date hardware can't update or not left stranded? What do you think?
That is a great question.
Could they even do that? Is a question.
Yeah. I mean, of course
right?
they could.
Yeah, it's in their power.
Nothing stopping them. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now we've got an artificial and arbitrary end of life date, which you have the ability to go ahead and pursue additional and to extend that further by paying that additional fee. So yeah, absolutely, they could extend it further. I don't know if they would, but boy, that would be a great goodwill gesture. Absolutely, just push it out for 6 months and just say, hey, look, whatever explanation they give. I mean, even if they said, hey, we've decided to. Yeah, I don't know what explanation they give, but that would be a tremendous thing. I would think that would be one of the easiest wins that Microsoft could have.
Does that benefit their shareholders though? Wouldn't they sell more
Maybe.
computers if they end of life all of these old Windows XP machines?
Yeah,
and people
but
have to buy the new expensive
they
computers.
have so many. They have just the fragmentation. I don't know. I mean, the fragmentation's been there for like the last several years. So what's extending it a little bit further going to do for them? So I mean,
It's true.
I could see them doing it if we entered full-on depression territory.
Yeah.
Like if we're like, it's bad 6 months from now kind of territory, I could see them doing it because they want to be responsible corporate citizens.
yeah,
Like, you
or
don't
there
want-
might be a loophole that they
everybody.
sort of leave purposefully in just to allow a knowledgeable user to go ahead and deal with it. But
Or they just keep providing security updates and stop providing feature updates.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, or let's say Windows 11 market share doesn't increase, but Linux market share does.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you're a Linux.
Yeah.
Here.
So
I'm really excited about eating that come December too.
well, I'm seeing this stat counter.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate this stat counter website is.
The bars look like they're going to touch.
Microsoft likes it. So they like StatCounter.
So Microsoft refers to this when they talk about. Okay, so
in the past.
but
This is based on web browser data, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
okay, so it's saying still the majority of people are on Windows 10. The bar's going down, but it is like 50, just below
sounds right.
56%, maybe 54. I
It
don't know
went
these
up in
numbers.
December. That's a worrisome. December and November.
Well,
That's
because
a weird
AI
one.
PCs, man, everyone
Oh,
wanted.
yeah,
Oh no,
everyone
actually, no,
wanted-
that doesn't
yeah,
make sense
no.
either. Well, but I mean, Windows 11 update or people adopting it is going up for sure, but it is still. I mean, we're still talking about 10 percentage points off ish.
Yeah.
From the amount of people using Windows 10. And actually, look at this. There's like at least 2 or 3% of people still using Windows 7.
That's why it's the GOAT.
You mean the full nerds?
Full
Best
nerds number
Windows
four.
operating system?
I saw something because I was looking at. I think I checked Wikipedia for Windows 7 for something else, and there is a country. I want to say
here's the
Bulgaria or something of that sort, or some country in the world that just is like the percentage of people that use Windows 7 is like it's a majority. I think it's a majority or something of that sort. It was some weird anomaly that just made it into Wikipedia. Like there's some country in the world that just loves Windows 7. I
Interesting.
can't remember what it was, but I think that was
All right.
something
Well,
like that.
if you were a betting man, what would you bet that Microsoft pushes it back?
The world's just too weird right now. I mean, I can't see a week or two out in the future, so I'm not sure if I could even make that guess. Let's say if things continue to go south, as Brad suggested, I could see it happening. And I don't know how they would couch it. But again, that would just be a fantastically easy win, and it would earn them so much goodwill. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching out there, Microsoft, consider it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
it's.
Interesting indeed.
That's a great answer. That's the kind of answer I like my reporters give it, man. I ain't trying to pick that right now. But Honestly, I think right now, like as is, I think it's 0% chance. Like, I don't think they're going to budge unless massive external factors make them budge.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Too much going on. Okay, a couple more and then we'll get out of here. Sneaky Supreme, friend of the show, Sneaky Supreme asked, did Switch 2's digital cartridge successfully implemented a next step to gamers preferred to not own their game physically? Paraphrase for me, Ubisoft exec.
You're the handheld PC guy.
So-
What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I think there's a couple things to break down here. We're not here to talk about Nintendo Switch. I mean, I would love to. But actually, we did talk about it on the Tech Pod. Go to techpod.content.town.
Techpod.content.
Yeah, great. To listen to that episode. That was fun. Thank you for having me
Adam
on.
joined us,
to
Brad,
talk
other
about
Brad,
Switch.
and I to talk about the Switch and like what that means for PC handhelds. Basically.
Yeah. But the whole digital cartridge thing is an interesting thing. Honestly, I'm surprised Nintendo even did anything to say, oh, hey, you can digitally lend out a cartridge for, I think it's 7 days or 14 days or something like that, a set number of time. It's a curious little thing, but also I feel like Nintendo getting on this bandwagon is accepting that, hey, you know what, digital is the
way of the
future.
future.
Well,
right?
there's two things, right? One is that they have a sharing scheme for people in the same Nintendo Switch family using their online services.
Yeah.
That means that like if we're all in the same family, I can share my copy of Super Mario Brothers, and Mark can play that, but I can't while he has the disc,
And that's
cartridge.
a definite
vice versa.
plus, right?
It kind of like there's pros and cons. It's complicated because they've had a method to do that currently that gives you like one primary Switch that can access the digital games online or offline.
It's not just the Switch; the other consoles do that too. Yeah, like PS5.
I mean, Steam allows
Well,
you to do that, right?
no, they all work a little bit differently though.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, the Switch is weird in that you have to be online, and because it's handheld, it has some baggage because of that online offline dichotomy. Like your PS5 is never offline, so it's not really a problem. With the Switch, you're more likely to have multiple Switches in one household, especially if you have kids.
True.
And it works great with two Switches, but the moment you add a third Switch, the whole thing goes to hell and stops working.
Yeah.
The other thing they have is they now have these digital carts, code-only carts, that like with the Switch generation, you can buy a game at Best Buy or Target or Walmart that just
Physical
has
game.
physical. It's a physical
Or
box
physical
you buy at the
box,
store
yeah.
that just has a digital code in it, and so then you're paying retail price for something that has all the digital baggage that you have with a digital code that you download from the store. You can't go back and resell that or whatever. Now they're doing these code carts that are it's just a physical token that says I own this game. It doesn't attach it to your account, and you can hand that cartridge to friends or resell it or whatever. And I think that's actually kind of a cool thing. Like, so yeah. It's complicated. We don't talk about the Switch here.
Yeah, well, but I think the other thing is too, like I feel like as a heavy PC gamer, once I got into it and just started buying everything on Steam, like I don't really have that many physical games anymore.
Oh
and I
yeah,
haven't for
absolutely. It's all
years.
legacy stuff.
Yeah, right.
right.
So
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the legacy Switch, like anytime I bought a physical game for the Switch, it was because during the pandemic, my daughter and wife both got Switches so they could play Animal Crossing at the same time. And because of the way their family sharing stuff worked up until this shared cartridge thing, you had to, buying a physical copy was the easiest way to make sure that whoever wanted to play a game that we all wanted to play could play it.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. Like I understand a lot of people's want for physical editions. I mean, even Luis, he's a physical edition guy here.
Yeah.
I think it's
so
different
I
for
know those
console than
people-
it is for PC. PC, I'm much happier with digital,
Yeah.
but for a console,
I mean, even on console, I still just buy digitally. Like, yeah.
I like it to have the disc there.
Yeah. Even if the game's not on the disc.
Oh, different story. No, I like
Well, because
it.
that's what
Yeah.
the Switch thing
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
So it's the same kind of
right,
thing.
yeah.
Like, I mean, Luis was talking about playing an upgraded version of a PS4 game on his PS5, but he still needed to put the disc in to authenticate. But he's not.
Yeah.
It's not running
It's a
off the
token,
disc.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
right.
like, then at that point, it's like, okay, we'll do. If it's just a token.
Yep.
I don't know. So, anyway, you got kids, Brad? What do your kids think? Do they think physical cartridges are stupid? The way of the past.
We have a Switch that we share, but all of this conversation makes me realize how much I appreciate being a PC gamer.
Look,
We don't have the online Nintendo account, any of that stuff. There's way too many hoops to jump through.
Yeah, but you don't own anything, Brad. Doesn't that make you feel crappy?
Nah. I'm good. I got it backed up.
Look, I'm just glad that they kept the stinky taste on the Switch carts so that all those kids won't choke to death on the Switch cartridges. Have you ever tasted a Switch cart, Adam?
Oh yes.
I know
I
you
also
love
lick
tasting
9-volt
terrible
batteries.
things. Yeah.
Why?
They taste terrible. They're really, really bad.
I hope the new one has a new version of bad.
No, but it's the same bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'll test it.
Yeah.
I will buy one Switch 2 game just to test it.
Yeah. What are you going to get?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, let's do one more question and get out of here. We have a fun one. Liquid R asks, for the California crew, what is the biggest quake you remember of your lifetime? And did it cause any tech disasters?
I moved here after 1989, so mine's boring. I don't have a good answer.
No, it's definitely 1989. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that the one where the highway
Cypress
fell on itself?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you weren't here for that?
No, I moved here in 2015.
So I'm
Germany or something
I guess I'm
then.
old school. Oh yeah, that's right. You were in Germany. Yeah. So absolutely. So 89, I was sitting in my parents' house, or at my house at the time in the East Bay, and I was kind of bummed out because I'm an A's fan. FJF, to know, if you know, you know. And this was the 89 World Series. It was being played at Candlestick, and I was sitting watching the game on TV, and all I remember is that there was, I think if I remember correctly, the TV went out first, and then at some point I remember looking in our backyard and seeing it ripple.
Oh boy.
And really at that point in time, having gone through several earthquakes and so forth, I think my reaction was, oh crap. And then I hit the floor. Books started, this is the East Bay. This is far away from the epicenter. Books started coming off the shelves. My mother was upstairs because she was just doing something. She was going to sit down and watch the game with me. And my father, I don't think, was home from work yet. And it was a big deal. And then I can't remember. Somehow, of course, we found out the news about, the Bay Bridge collapsing, the Cypress structure falling, all that happening. And obviously that was the end of the baseball game for the night. That was the story for the rest of the week. But yeah, that was absolutely by far the worst earthquake we've had.
Did you not have power and stuff was power out for a long time?
I don't think power went out in our place.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had elevated power lines there, and so they would. I don't remember power going out. I don't remember actually. Really, the only damage that far out was just books falling off the shelves. I can't remember. That house has some cracks in it, but I don't think there is.
All California houses have cracks.
I don't think that's anything that the earthquake caused. So yeah, definitely. It's California. I've lived here for the vast majority of my life, ridden through many earthquakes, but absolutely by far.
Yeah.
Well, what's the biggest one you've experienced then?
Like there was a 4 that was real close to my house, and it made the train sound, which I'd never heard before.
Really? Oh, the train sound.
For people who don't know, when you have a real good one, you get this kind of rumbly, and it literally sounds like a train running by your house when you don't have train tracks near your house. Yeah. It made the exact same sound that when one of my neighbors had a car drive through their house, it made that same sound.
Oh yeah, as most people do.
Yeah, that was a bad day for them. But yeah, that's it. For me, the biggest quake that came out that happened when I lived in California was probably Quake 4, because I moved here right after
Quake 4, the video game.
Yeah, the video game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Willis, you're a native.
I'm a native.
But 89, where you were alive in 89?
I was just a bean. I was just a bebe.
baby?
So yeah.
So you didn't experience
I don't really,
it.
Yeah, so I didn't really remember much. But from what my mom told me was that I was in a crib, and so when she felt the quake, she immediately grabbed me and then hunkered down on this big mahogany wood dining table underneath until it kind of just
Yep.
And you were in San Francisco.
I was in San Francisco. Yeah, we were living in San Francisco at that time, so that was the one that she told me over and over again. And then memorable quakes. Nothing that comes to mind really.
Yeah.
In California,
it's unusual to have one that rattles your dishes.
Yeah,
it's.
We had a storm of them 3 years back. The one that it culminated in I want to say Napa. That Napa quake.
Oh yeah, the one
yeah.
up north.
So there was a few quakes before that led up to it that would hit every couple of days or something like that. It was seemed like for some reason around dinner time, like we'd be sitting there and.
I'll happily take a handful of little ones.
Yeah, right.
I don't want a big one. Those seem scary.
Yeah, release that pressure.
Yeah.
Release it, baby.
that's exactly
Yeah,
it.
keep releasing. Yeah. Anyway, Brad, have you ever experienced an earthquake?
No.
Okay. Tornadoes?
Oh yeah, I've seen a tornado in Florida.
Hurricanes?
The worst thing we went through
that's
was
a
probably
thing.
the ice storm. We had a crazy ice storm in 2008 up here that like millions of people were left without power for like a week plus. Like trying to drive to work that morning, you could just hear all the trees. It sounded like multiple shotguns going off in the woods because everything was collapsing. It was devastating actually.
Would you rather have a disaster that you can see coming towards you, or experience a disaster that you couldn't see?
It's one of the problems with earthquakes. Yeah.
Because earthquakes, you don't know what's coming. Right.
Having had a tornado go over my house, not on the ground but up in the air.
Really?
When I was it was one of my first memories. I was like 4 years old, and I'm good. It doesn't matter. They're both bad.
They both
you
suck.
didn't. I mean, back then we didn't really have weather radar, so it wasn't like we knew
What was coming?
Like we didn't have a way to look up and see where the tornado was. It was just like the entire town was like, go get in your basement, and the next thing you knew, there's
Did they
water,
have the sirens?
There's water blasting
like
in
the Silent Hill
like,
sirens?
I never played Silent Hill. We didn't have that kind of siren. I grew up in the mountains, but like, yeah, it's bad. Disasters are bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? You know what else is a disaster? This show. We need to end it. I'm just kidding.
What an uplifting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, Adam. It's good to be here. I'm really
Yeah.
glad I could
What
come
a
in today.
disaster of a show. That was the worst one ever. I'm just kidding. It was great. Maybe we should do a ranking of all the Full Nerd episodes. All
I'm going to
342.
be out that week. I'm sorry.
Where would this one
tier
land?
after S tier, that'd get boring.
Yeah. Maybe tier list for anyway. Check back next week for your fix of PC talk here on the Full Nerd. We'll have a good show. I promise. Yeah. Just like this one. It was a great show.
Elena's going to be back, right?
No, I don't think
she's
so. I
not
think
really?
she's off again. Yeah. Who knows? Anyway, what's my spiel? If you want to listen to us on the go, subscribe to us over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Pocket Casts, Deezer, anywhere that fine podcasts are sold. If you are on one of those platforms, please leave us a review, thumbs up, star rating, anything like that. Anytime you do, California gets hit with another earthquake.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, don't do that. But it would be funny.
Gotcha's an earthquake.
Yeah. I want to thank my co-host Brad Charkis for joining back in the TV where he belongs.
Yeah, it's been rad. Thanks, y'all. Adios, internet.
Yep. Thank Will Smith for joining.
Always
Thanks,
a
Will.
pleasure, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark Hockman, for making the trek into the studio to talk about Windows.
Absolutely.
Our
My
resident
pleasure.
expert.
It's the funny thing is that I cover a bunch of things. So Windows is one. In a few months we'll be talking to
Linux.
Yeah.
Yep, nothing but Linux.
Exactly right. Yeah, Linux is going to be my.
Wait, do we have a Linux expert?
Modus operandi.
I think it's
do.
me,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
you're probably.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
even
it's
write
not
that for
what
us.
you
So,
want.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. No, good times.
Yeah.
And thank you everybody for joining in. I'm glad to be back. We got some fun stuff kicking off in the next few weeks. And then Computex, is next month.
that's
I mean, we're
right.
talking
Wow.
about we're literally talking about like a month away.
Yeah. Oh, can I just? Sorry,
Please.
I have to just okay. So I know it's too inside baseball. We were like pitching a story and so forth, but Computex, Google I/O, Microsoft Build, the same days. It just drives me absolutely nuts that they would actually go ahead and put these things on the same days, because we're gonna have to. I mean, we're gonna have to be covering all of these things in some ways. Now, I was just like, when I discovered this yesterday, I was thinking to myself, you know what? There are ways that go ahead, but people can go ahead and figure these things out so this doesn't happen. I mean, there's like calendaring apps that are made by like Google
and Microsoft.
right? And then there are search engines made by like Google and Microsoft, and you could go ahead and just if you have if you had an event, the rest of the other people could go ahead and reschedule. At least Google could reschedule if Microsoft announced first, or vice versa, and so forth. And it's just going to be like, it's a little bit disappointing, because I want to give these guys the most opportunity they can. I want to give these guys the best chance they can and cover their products the best they can. And it's going to be difficult this year, and so it'll be. And I have to apologize in advance for that.
And where's
Look,
Build?
Build's in Redmond. Google I/O is here in the Valley.
It's a shoreline, right?
See, I would say then they have no
Taiwan,
excuse.
and then the Google Computex is in
Well,
Taiwan.
well, 'cause
WWDC is the same time too, isn't it?
I don't know what the time
Who
is. Yeah,
cares?
yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. At Max. Well, I would say Computex, they probably have to book whatever that event,
Tinex, yeah, right.
Tinex, like for maybe a year in advance. Who knows? But Build and Google, they can do that at any time.
Build
this
can
is
do it anytime they
their
want. Yeah.
campus. So
Yeah.
Look, Shoreline is a hot venue, though.
Oh,
You know, they
true.
got-
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
but
can't kick out
They got
Charlie
the Alban
XCX
brothers
or
coming
whatever.
in, and
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Doobie Brothers as well.
No, Doobie Brothers.
Oh, dang it.
One of
Okay.
those guys is dead. I
Oh,
think.
I think a
So
lot
it's
of them-
disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Brad's cracking up over here. Anyway, thank you, Willis Lai, for controlling the verticals horizontals. Get us out of here.
Alrighty. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.